Well, that didn't work out as bad as what I thought. Good evening. Welcome all to the Mancunian Way. Hope we are all well. My name is Martin. I am your host of the show. Tonight we have got Pat. How are you, mate?
Hello, Martin, and hello, everybody out there. Hope we're all doing well. I'm doing fine and dandy for this Friday morning over here in the land down under. Thank you very much.
Land down under.
Yeah, sorry, I just had 2 slices of Vegemite on toast, so I'm feeling a bit more Aussie today.
And we've got Richard. How are you, mate?
Very good, thank you. Very good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Sorry, I'm just getting messages on. Don't know where Alan was. Don't know where Alan is. I'm just trying to.
Alan is down in Tasmania.
Well, he said he was coming on.
Yeah, he may be having to get set up at his sister's or something.
Yeah, find out. Well, I'll message him anyway. Anyway, yes, good evening all in the chat. I hope you like our brand new layout. We're just testing. Things may change. We're testing thumbnails and everything at the moment just to see how things go. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed the video. Took a long time. Me and somebody else. Appreciate that. The person knows who they are, and they are absolutely top notch. We've literally got people all over the world helping with this, which is just amazing. Sort my camera out. Hello. Right. So here we are then. Brand new season. And the topics are going across your screen. We're going to start off with obviously season coming up, 23-24. We're going to talk then about the Community Shield, and then we'll get into transfers because, as everyone knows, Josko Gvardiol is now in Manchester. Documents are signed, sealed, and delivered. It will only be a failed medical, which will stop this from happening. I have got a little bit of news on the Gvardiol deal in a bit. I'll share with everyone, so keep you all around. To why there was a hold-up. Why things went a bit pear-shaped. So there was nothing to do with Manchester City. It was all on the RB Leipzig end and some gamemanship. And City held out and got what they wanted in the end with the help of Josko Gvardiol, who was desperate to play for Manchester City. It will 99% likely mean that Emerick Laporte will be leaving Manchester City. We wish him all the best. Looks like he's going out to Saudi Arabia. He's going to be part of the brand new. Looks like João Cancelo we'll talk about as well. That deal is not as far down the line as everyone thinks. Yes, he has agreed personal terms, but Barcelona have to come down and sit down with us, and we ain't just going to let him go out the door for £5 million. So no, that isn't as straightforward as everyone thinks. We'll talk Kyle Walker and everything else. And don't always believe everything you read about wingers. Because yes, we're after wingers, but the names I've heard have not even come out yet. That's all I'll say. Maybe there's a couple of red herrings being thrown about so that people don't realise. That's all I will say. But anyway, are you ready, gentlemen?
Aye.
Rich, just before we even kick off, don't want to wear United and Arsenal are getting relegated. Don't want to wear that Everton are going to suddenly win the league. Let's come up with sensible predictions this year, please.
Come on, I've never predicted Arsenal.
Luke will get into Europe.
Yes, you did. Oh no,
that wasn't.
You said United were getting relegated.
I'll probably, I've had United getting relegated the last 3 years, and I reckon, just as a bit of a spoiler, I reckon they may sneak staying up. They may get the points needed to get above 18th this season, I reckon. Yeah. Because of their new keeper. He might be just enough.
Their new keeper, I already love him because he's bollocked Maguire in his debut. And that was just the greatest thing ever. He's sat there going, who's this sack of shit in front of me?
I'm not fully committed to United staying up, but I reckon there's a chance I'll have them staying up.
Could you imagine if you're an Arna and then you suddenly stand there and you've got an £85 million lump sat in front? I mean, I'm not thin, And I don't mean because he's fat, but an absolute lump of a defender who's 85 million quid in front of you. And the first thing you do is rollick him.
Well, I think you would, wouldn't you?
Right?
It's too slow to catch him, so it doesn't really matter.
Alec Johnson, how are you, mate? Ready and waiting. Thank you very much. Turn the plane around, Gavadio. We have a needle of pork. Ethan, going to be upset, mate. Very, very upset. Yeah, like I said, he's already in Manchester, mate. The deal's done. Says who? Says everyone. Laporte's clear. Why? You seen Gavadio? I love Ethan because the fact is he wants nobody to leave. He wants a squad of 40 players. It's great. Good evening, Michael Feeder. Ozzy's not with us tonight. Ozzy is still feeling blue under the weather. So we do wish him all the best and hope he recovers quickly. Hello, fellow treble winners. We've got Josco. Yes. Andy can't join us tonight. He's in the chat, but he's ill. AR can't get hold of, and Alan's the walkabout. So, yeah, this was going to be a bigger panel, but it kind of not work that way. But listen, small. All right. No, that's going to get clips and used as a meme. Switch that around. Can't believe I've said that live. Anyway, Josco better. Listen, you lot have your argument about Josco and bloody Laporte. Listen, argument is not going to change it. Laporte is leaving and Gavardio's coming. I don't know what argument he's going to do to change it.
Stop fighting reality. Just
accept it. No audio. Yeah, I know what you mean, no audio. Right, the treble winning and the going live soon were just like standing intros. Then we go into that. Guardiola has landed in Manchester. Yes. If you can, have a check in the chat, smash those likes. Because, by the way, the more, not just interacting with us, but interacting with everyone else in the chat does help your channel. Really does. Because the chat run rate, through rate will go higher, which means we get pushed out onto YouTube more. Beer time, by all means. Sit back, have a beer, have a cold one. Evening Blue Goat, how are you? Looking forward to another great season. I don't want to wear the word bloody treble tonight. Evening Blues, anyone comes to me and goes, we're getting a treble.
No,
or a sex tuple, whatever it's bloody called.
We're getting the baby quadruple, which isn't going to involve the FA Cup, Premier League, or the Champions League.
Community Shield, Super Cup,
it's going to be this unique
Carabao.
Kind of, yeah.
It's the shithouse quadruple.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. We call it the quadruple, and then United.
Can you imagine if we do a bus? Can you imagine if we do a bus parade for that? I just really.
Yeah, or maybe make it a Sankuple, but at the FA Cup. And then just go the 5 time the greatest season in British history.
Rich, while we're at it, let's just get the 2 pre-season trophies that we won in Japan as well.
Yeah, exactly. Add them. Make it a septuplet, but without the Champions League and the Premier League, and then just tell all other fans. And obviously, it'll be a better season than the Invincibles because we've won 7 trophies.
Yeah. You'll notice what we've done tonight this season. We're going to make it a bit brighter and a bit more vibrant with the colours. That's what we're trying to do.
That's why we're all wearing really bright colours.
Really dark colours. So
that's why we're all in yellow, pink and orange.
Martin, you and me look like we're going to a drug dealer's funeral.
If my employees currently watching, that is a lie. And I do not agree with that in any way, shape, or form.
I'm hiding in the bushes to take you both out with my
Mitch, we know you hide in bushes, mate. We know you've been hiding in bushes for a long time, but usually with a big old binoculars.
At Blackburn, yeah.
Usually he's on the other side of that window.
Unlike you, mate, I was in the stand at Blackburn.
Anyway,
you want to hide around on that hill, you hide around on that hill. I was sat doing the bloody conga around Ewood Park. I don't know what you were doing. Martin is the go at the I am not an ITK. Somebody I know is an ITK doesn't make me. And you can be quiet. You know the same person. Behave. Anyway, greetings, Blues from Southport. Hello, Peter. How are you? Michael Quinn, hi there. Hope all good in Dublin. Yes, Vardiol has landed safely. Ethan's really unhappy about it. People in the chat get the message out about the Mancunian way. Yes, we're going to try. Our aim is to hit 3,000 subscribers as soon as possible, and then 4, and then 5, etc. Don't forget, super chats are available if you are desperate and want to help your channel. Super chat is available by hitting the $ below. And also, if you want to become a member for 99p, you can, and that will now guarantee you into a monthly prize draw. So at the end of every month, we will do a prize draw. I am currently speaking with Andy over at 9320 Pubcast at Getting, because he's now got a new shop, which by all means, bang it in here, mate, where he does mugs, t-shirt printing, all sorts, and you can choose one of them if you want, or Pat will get you some info over from Sydney or whatever. We're not going to be doing like signed framed shirts, but for 99p, like I said, we're not going to make anyone pay for content, but we're going to do a monthly prize draw. I think that's the fairest way of doing it. Or you can have a one-to-one pitch.
Yeah. Did you say Pat's flying you to Sydney?
No, Pat's gonna send some stuff over from Sydney.
Oh, some Vegemite.
No, like scarves and that. What are you on, you?
I just wondered why he'd send scarves from Sydney. You know, like the Sydney Swans or...
Oh, Rich is funny. No, he's not.
St. George. No.
Now Laporte stays,
Newcastle
yes.
for me, mate, not the Geordie one.
What do you mean now Laporte stays, yes? What?
Are you a Sharks fan?
No, hell
Patrick?
no. I know they wear sky blue, but no.
Yeah, you're just a shy fake, so I thought you might be.
Yeah,
we do wish Ozzy to get better, definitely. Daniel, hello, mate. Cheekies deserve so much more respect. Yeah, but people don't have patience, Daniel. Hi, Pat, Rich, and all. Hello, Michael Phoenix. Yes, Tyrone. Elisa, I don't think that's going to happen because, for one, he's not fit. He's just had an operation on a hamstring. He's out till October. I don't think they'll do it. Yes, he's on a list, but I don't think they'll do it because he's got a release clause, 35 million quid. What's the point in buying a winger who's not available till October, November anyway? Kind of silly. Yeah. But anyway, I don't think it will be Elisa. Martin, what are your thoughts on Laporte overall? Our biggest mistake has been part of Tommy's league. I think he's been an absolute warrior for us. I will miss him, but he can't sit on the bench. And at Manchester City, he will sit on the bench, which is sad. And he deserves to play, so I wish him all the best. I wish he wasn't going to Saudi Arabia. And that's nothing against Saudi Arabian League. Having a player in his prime shouldn't be going to Saudi Arabia. That's again nothing against Saudi Arabia.
He's going to Saudi 3-4 years too early.
Yeah, I find it an absolute mystery. I understand not the mystery of why he's leaving City, but I don't understand how Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool, Chelsea, United, and everyone else aren't there banging down our door with 40 million quid because he is a better left-sided centre-back than any of them have. Just about any other team in Europe. I understand Guardiola's much younger. He's a huge prospect. He's a better prospect than Laporte at the same age. And, we're renewing our team for the future. And I think, but I do think that probably after Guardiola, who there's not many good left-sided centre-backs, let alone brilliant ones, let alone ones with his passing ability. So I just find it crazy that everyone isn't knocking his door down. I just think he could walk into... Yeah.
I honestly think we've got the two best centre-backs in world football right now.
We've probably got... No, the three.
Well, yeah, three. By the way, Rosemary, welcome to the channel. Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. You will now be entered into the prize draws for the monthly prize draws. Thank you very much. Well, hope Norway is doing you well. We can't let Bernardo join Barca. He's not going to Barca. Do not worry about that. Anyway, right. Let's get into it then. So, brand new season. And this won't just be Manchester City. We're going to talk randomly about the Premier League as well. Obviously, Arsenal have gone out and spent, even though apparently they don't spend any money. United have decided to spend about, I think it's close to 180 million quid right now, even though their owners don't spend and have never spent, apparently. What's that? About 1.9 billion now? 2 billion? Must be getting up there. Apparently they have owners who don't spend. Aston Villa have gone out and had a splurge this summer. Very, very good splurge, in my honest opinion, and I think they will be a lot of people's that. Sorry, do that again. You just simultaneously drunk at the same time, and you both got a white cup. This was not planned. I don't know what they're all doing.
Yeah, and the fact that we had to do a planned one made it look even worse. Carry on.
So, yeah, I mean, let's start with Manchester City. Not a lot of ins. A few outs. A few rumoured outs. What are you thinking? Anyone? Pat, Rich, what do you go?
I think me for this season, strong favourites for the Premier League, deservedly so. We have the strongest team. My real worry for this season is injuries. I just think we had a phenomenally good season last year for no injuries or very few injuries. We, aside from a bit of a centre-back crisis at the start of the season, and now we've got 29 centre-backs, we really didn't have any. Our key players, we pretty much always had two of the three attacking midfielders fit. De Bruyne had a few injuries, but not that bad till the end. And that's my worry, is injuries. What happens if, Haaland or Rodri or Diaz, one of our key players goes down with a big injury? Because without injuries, I think we'll win the Premier League again. I don't see. I think our main challenger for last year is going to have it a bit harder this year, because second season is harder. It was a free hit for them last year, where everything went in their favour, and clubs often take the momentum of the end of the season into the next season, and so I think it may be a season a bit more like some of the others. City getting there, Liverpool challenging us the most of our rivals, and some of the hype from the Arsenal fans who are already telling me how scared City are of Arsenal and how pretty much they've got it in the bag already, might end up looking a bit silly this season. But, obviously, in terms of, I'm assuming that, we won't make any earth-shattering signings beyond what we've done, and we won't have any earth-shattering departures, because, if Bernardo left, that changes things dramatically because of his flexibility and his tactical ability for Pep. And, if we went and signed, another player or two and built that squad, then I'd be less worried about those injuries because we'd have more cover. And perhaps now with Kovacic and Stones playing the way he is, the Rodri risk is a bit less. And, with Alvarez, perhaps that Haaland risk is a bit less, and maybe I'm, slightly more nervous than I should be.
Yeah, look, Rich, I'll agree with you too. I think probably our biggest threat to the title challenge this year is probably ourselves. Chance of complacency, 4 in a row, never been done before as well. So you've got to think there is something to that as well too. But if ever there has been a time where a club has had an opportunity, never had a better opportunity to win 4 in a row, it's probably us now. We're so far ahead at the moment, just with the players, the formation, the manager, the team spirit, the team chemistry, and everything right now, that the only way the bridge is going to be gap. The only way the gap is going to be bridged is if we force that on ourselves. If I look back on the last, say, third of the season, I think that to me, you always look at how teams end, because sometimes that can determine how they start as well too. And I think We certainly have to keep an eye on Liverpool because I think they certainly had a really good end to the season. Had a good stretch of a good run of wins. And they've done some important signings as well too. They needed to rejuvenate that midfield in a way. So I'd be curious to see how they go. And I think if they do become our nearest title contender, then I won't be the least bit surprised. But yeah, look, again, our biggest enemy is ourselves at the moment. As we've seen in previous seasons, we don't have to be leaps and bounds ahead, by Christmas in the league. We just need to be within striking distance. So, yeah, look, I think we're calm. Everybody's calm. Everybody's feeling good, given, the events of what happened over the last couple of months too. So I think everybody's just, there's certainly a big weight's come off our shoulders now. And I think if anything, we're going to be enjoying this and enjoying this season. And I wouldn't say it's like a bit of a honeymoon period because we want to win 4 in a row. But everything is laid at our feet now just to go for another title challenge because you got to say everybody has a right, or if you feel confident about this season, it is completely justified because we are looking really good and our players are raring to go and try and do it all again.
One or two of your comments I am starting to come back to because obviously when we come to the transfer topic later on, we'll come back to some of these comments just so I know. I agree with that. I'm just trying to fly through as many comments as I can because they're coming through at the rate of knots. I mean, right now, if we presume Walker, Laporte, Cancelo are all leaving, yeah, and we bring another one in, you're looking at Edison, Ortega, Carson for your goalies, Akanji, Stones, Diaz, Gabardio, Ake, maybe Lewis and Gomez. Kind of, because
what's happened? Has anything happened with Howard Bellis yet?
No, the club want near enough 20 million quid, and no, this is what I was told, and then it came out from Sam Lee.
So he's still with us now.
Yeah, the problem is people are trying, and I will go through it later on with the RB Leipzig stuff that I was told, but a lot of clubs don't want to pay the money we want. And we're not asking astronomical amounts. But what basically clubs are trying to do is get our players on the cheap. And City are rather pissed off that we keep coming with what they would call derisory offers at the moment. So, for example...
Except for our goalkeepers. It's interesting. Yeah, I find it interesting to say...
Juventus wanted Laporte and we're talking 20 million quid. No.
Yeah.
See you buy. Ain't not entertaining that.
We're just other clubs are just lowballing us.
Exactly.
Because they played a considerably less number of games than what our first team did.
Kyle Walker has sat there and has now told City, I ain't signing this contract. Fine, not a problem. Then you need to tell Bayern to up their offer then.
Yeah.
It's all right, Walker sat there going, I want to go to Bayern. I bought my house. I'm sat there. That's great and dandy. But we ain't taking 10 million quid for Kyle Walker.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's worth, in that case, it's worth keep him. Full stop. He's, a lane fee for him for a season's worth it.
Yes, he will kick a fuss up if we keep him, no doubt. But, sorry, sometimes the player have to do some of the donkey work as well, like Gabardio has done. Vardiol has helped himself get to City. Walker has to speak to Bayern or his agent and say, no, you need to up your offer. Because if I'm Kyle Walker, I'm a little bit peeved off that they're only willing to pay 10 or 11 million quid for him anyway.
Yeah. But he's 30, That's the thing.
He's not 30, he's 32, Rich.
33, but he's nearly 33. So that's what I mean. People don't pay fees. I mean, I've seen some people say Mahrez, a bad fee, but that was the third highest fee in history. But it's the third highest fee in history. When you've got ASM from Newcastle going for more than him, give all the bits. Come on. He's 7 years old. I think it's only
Ruben Neves went for 47 million.
Yeah. Ruben Neves is 26 or something though. That's the
right.
thing.
No, but 26 he should be going for 67.
Only 2 players in history have gone for more than Mahrez at his age.
What have Ruben Neves and ASM won in the craze?
Yeah, but that's Alan Ball's argument. I won the World Cup, but it was 40 years ago. And that, when you're buying a player reality is quality is important, but age is a factor.
So's
If you're buying 20
experience.
yeah, but not if you're buying, whatever is
Rich,
paid
we're
for Walker,
talking
he
at
will have no
Champions.
value.
Bloody hell, he's
Yeah.
coming in arguing for a brand new season, hasn't he? He's determined to win some argument at some point. Listen, Rich, he is a Champions League winner. 4 or 5 times 4 times Premier League winner, FA Cup winners. Paid the bloody money.
So's Pepe's a 4 times Champions League winner. What would you pay for him now? Nothing.
How old's Pepe?
About 37
53
or 38 or 39.
He's about 53, isn't it?
If you've got an asset that holds no value, all you're doing is paying a loan fee. You're not paying for something that's sellable. And that's the thing. I don't think in 2-3 years' time Mahrez is sellable. They're paying a loan fee for 30 million.
I still think we should have got a bit more. I mean Mahrez's salary for his first season, you'll earn more money than what we get for selling him.
Anyway, we're coming off track here.
Yeah.
I think we're going into transfers. If you look at the squad at the moment, I mean, like I was saying, the squad you've got Luis Gomez, midfield, Rodri, Kovacic, Kalvin Phillips, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo, Foden, McAtee, Grealish, Palmer, Bob, and then your forwards, Haaland and Alvarez. Does that squad right now capable of winning the Premier League?
100%.
Is it not too inexperienced? Because you just said about injuries, Rich.
Yeah, if we
3
get
injuries
5
down to EDS.
Yeah. Depends where the injury. Injuries will depend where they are, but I think the biggest for years. I think probably the last 2 or 3 seasons I've banged on about my biggest fear is a Rodri injury. But I do think in Kovacic we've probably got, and the fact that Stones has done what he's done, and potentially Guardiola coming in, and Rico Lewis. I'm actually less worried about that role now than I have been. I mean, I was a bit less worried last year because I thought Kalvin Phillips was actually a very good player when we signed him, and I haven't even mentioned him. But
we'll come into it.
And the other injury, the other injury that would worry us greatly would be Ederson. But I actually think I'm more confident Ortega coming in than I have been for a reserve keeper for ages. And then Haaland. But we've got Alvarez, who's one of the best young strikers in world football. He's played in the centre. He played games for the World Cup winners in that kind of central position. So, in terms of the small injuries, I'm less worried. It's if we get a series of 3 or 4 bad injuries like we did at centre back at the season Liverpool won the league, where we were 3 serious long-term injuries at the same time, and we're suddenly having to play Fernandinho when he was 35 at centre back consistently, or playing out of player forms, and that would be the worry. In terms of
Ethan's gone Walker is worth 50 million.
He's simply not. That's why Lewandowski went for 35 million, who was the same age as Walker, and I don't think you can say. I mean, defensively, yes, Walker was up there in quality with he's a Lewandowski of defenders, but people pay more for strikers. I think people just forget that at that age, it's there's no sell on.
You just said Kyle Walker's the Lewandowski defenders, Rich.
Yeah.
You taking the piss?
Well,
he's taking the piss.
Lewandowski is one of the out and out goal
strikers. You're telling me Walker's one of the world's greatest defenders?
He is. There's no question in the last decade Walker's been one of the world's greatest defenders.
No, Rich, you're doing it again. You're doing what you did last season. New season, Rich. Come on. What I'm saying is, I don't mean what he did 10 years. I don't want 10 years ago. I'm talking now.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And I'm saying that we got nearly as much money for Walker as Barca paid for Lewandowski. So if we can get him for if we get 20 million for him or something like that, that's not that far off.
I know loads are talking about transfers, but there is a transfer section, I promise you all.
So Martin, to get back to topic, you want us to all get to kind of top four? What's your
No,
prediction you want?
listen.
Top four?
My worry, and I do have a worry, because you look at every team historically that has gone on and done what we did, treble wise or doubles or whatever. There is usually a drop the season after. United 99, they didn't have a pot to piss in the year later, if you remember. Arsenal absolutely dominated and rolled them. And Liverpool going for the quad. They mentally couldn't get back. I'm not saying it will happen, because I think with our manager, if any manager can prevent that, it's Pep Guardiola. If any manager can stop complacency and mental fatigue kicking in, it is Pep. But do I have that doubt? Yes. And right now, you said a key word, Dev, injuries. Right now, you have Oscar Bob, McAtee, Palmer, and everyone else is your backups, and Kalvin Phillips. That right now, 2 or 3 injuries, we're in shit street, especially in that midfield area. And that's what worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I think we still might.
Keep McAtee, but what I don't want is, I don't want a young lad to have so much pressure on him. I want him, for me, for an Oscar Bob or a McAtee or someone like that, keep them. But you want to blood them in when they're like, when you're like 3-0 up with 20 minutes to go. Bring him in.
Yeah.
Let him have a run round for 20 minutes. Or League Cup second and third round. Play them. Actually play them. Don't do what we normally do, like the FA Cup third round, and we roll out the first 11. Actually give these kids a chance. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
But, and me and you both said this, Rich, I think, Pat, you're in agreement with this, that midfield worries me a little bit. With two injuries in that midfield, and we're worrying.
Do you know what makes me worry a bit less? Is
I'm turning to Rich this season.
Actually,
Rich is turning to me.
It's actually, yeah. I've got, I haven't watched all our preseason, because I do find preseason a bit of a dog and pony show. No, I'm just not into this overseas.
Stop.
Yeah.
Just before you go and really insult Pat, who travelled thousands of polar miles over there, sat in 90-degree humidity, singing on his own in a 20,000 fan training session. The poor guy was singing on his own. And you're saying
Pat didn't go. Pat didn't go for watching the football, did he? He went for
all right.
Fun,
I don't want to know
the experience. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that you go for those things.
I went for the food. I went for the food and stumbled on 3 football matches.
Yeah, I mean, I had a phenomenal, day and night out a few years ago, going to watch City Real Madrid in Melbourne, but I can't remember the game. Brilliant afternoon, but by the evening it was a blur. But so I can't remember where I was going now. I got distracted by.
Sorry, I do apologise.
Preseason. Yeah, no. Right, glitch back. I think of all the football I saw this summer, the player who most impressed me was Rico Lewis. And Rico Lewis impressed me loads last season. And
the opposite.
I thought he was. I think
really good against Bayern. Martin.
I think he's such a tidy player. He was the best player on the park against Bayern.
He was one of the worst against Atletico.
Even better than
everybody was terrible against Atletico.
I just think that we've got some youth, and I think Oscar Bob looks an incredibly tidy player as well. I think the issue with Palmer, probably, that I don't think we'd face with Bob in the side necessarily, from what I've seen, and that's not huge amounts, is that Palmer is a bit more of a flair player, and he does take a few more risks and then not necessarily make the decision at the end. Whereas to me, when Bob's played, and a bit like Rico Lewis is a bit like this, they're just incredibly tidy. They may not have 9 out of 10 out of 10 moments like Palmer perhaps Cav has, but they do seem like, they're just going to do a 7 out of 10, keep the ball, keep control. And And I think even McAtee looked a bit like that. You know, he didn't set the world up a lot, but he didn't really do anything wrong either. And coming into City side, that ability just to be tidy, just to keep the ball.
Yeah, Rich, Oscar Bob and
sometimes
McAtee had some. They looked consistent. Like, sure that there's the occasional summer preseason erratic pass here and there, but everybody's guilty of that. But what I've noticed from them, especially from Oscar Bob just didn't look like he was going to be dispossessed at any point. Whenever he played, anytime he had the ball, he didn't look like he was going to get dispossessed. He looked comfortable. It looked consistent. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't flair or anything like that. I just think I don't know. Maybe Pep just wanted him to just be consistent and just not give the ball away. That's exactly what I saw.
Yeah, I don't think Pep wants that. If you look at the players that seem to come through with Pep, you know, the one exception possibly being Foden, who has that magic. They're the players who are tidy, not the ones like everyone talks about the spectacular moments, and you can see some of them, on City Channel, of someone like Borges, but it's flair, it's risk, it's
that's confirmed now, by the way.
It's not tidiness. Yeah, and that's why. Whereas Rico Lewis looks like he can come in and just not lose the ball, keep the ball, keep control. And Bob looks a bit like that too.
A lot of people in the chat are saying offer Walker a 2-year deal. Walker's been offered the deal. Walker has said no.
Yeah, Walker's waiting. But every account, Walker is waiting on Kane, and he said that
he's waiting on Bayern.
Pretty much said. Yeah, but I think it's all
best mate.
He'll go there with Kane. And,
this is what people need to be. City offered the contract weeks ago to Walker. And this is what I always said about Gundogan. If a player is set on staying, it's now 2 months, bit less, since he got offered the contract. You don't sit on a contract for 2 months if you want to stay.
Walker would have signed that contract before Nathan Ake signed his.
Yeah, you can sit and give him every captaincy armband going left, right, and centre. The problem is for Kyle Walker, when the season kicks off, he's not in the 11.
Yeah, and
that's when
he doesn't deserve.
He
doesn't deserve captaincy. Some of his behaviour over the years has been. We've got some people who've behaved impeccably at all times, and that's where our captaincy deserves to go.
I'm starring loads of comments because I'm going to come back to them. So that's my thing with Walker. It's not that he's a bad player. I agree with that on the captaincy. Doesn't deserve it after his antics of last season. That is a disgrace. Don't agree with that because you can't flash your bits in a pub, public indecency, which is a criminal offence, by the way, and then turn around and give the guy, sorry, no, don't agree with that. So I'm with you on that. The thing is, we just have to accept the guy wants to leave. Nobody's rich. He just wants to leave. Just accept it and move on the same with Gundogan. Because all you're going to do is hurt yourself when you sat there going, Walker's sake, you're just going to hurt yourself. Then when he leaves, you'll all be peeved off. There's no point in doing it because you're hurting yourself. The guy's 33. The guy deserves to play football. If he's not going to be playing football, is it not fair? Because at 33, he ain't going to get another chance at Bayern Munich ever again. 33-year-olds don't normally get a Bayern Munich, a Real Madrid, a Manchester City. That's not... Normally at 33, you're going down in your career. Not a sideways step, in a way, to a top European club like Bayern Munich. Let the guy just go and enjoy his time in Germany. I mean, Muddy Duck put something on. I'm just going to start... The problem is you're looking at book prices. So when Tonal Mahrez, thank you very much for this, Muddy Duck, the book value is 6.32 euros. So it's 30 million euros prox in the market, replacement value 30. So I don't know. Personally, I think we'll probably land on about 15 million for the lad. But I also think it's gone quiet because, as you say, Rich, Bayern Munich are currently working out the Kane deal. Yeah. And I think when the Kane deal gets done, I think within a matter of days, you'll see the Walker deal then get done. And the two best buddies are then sat at Bayern Munich together.
And I think Pep is thinking, on the Walker thing, we may well take an action to sign another defender if say Walker, Cancelo, and Laporte
Need
all
one
go.
now, Rich.
Well, I think if Walker, Cancelo, Laporte all go, we'll probably sign someone or keep someone back from loan or something.
What do you do?
I do think generally that Pep will be thinking Rico Lewis to be playing a lot more football and cover most of, the fact is we've still got Stones as well, because we can,
not everyone can
we've
invert.
got Akanji.
You can't invert everyone. Not everyone's going to invert. We've got exactly, Rich. You got Akanji. You still got Gomez if he stays. You still, people saying Laporte stays. Again, it's not fair on Emerick Laporte. Emerick Laporte played hardly any minutes last season. He's not going to do that again. And whether you like it or not, we've just signed a left-sided defender, Josko Gavadio. Nathan Aké, the other left-sided defender, has just signed a brand new contract. Do the maths. Someone's left out of this, and that's Emerick Laporte. Emerick Laporte will leave. He will go. Now, it's not out at the minute, but I got told like I say, I'm not an ITK. Somebody tells me who it is. Someone sends me the info. Who is the ITK? I just pass the info on. But there is interest from Saudi Arabia, and there was what fee? They're at a point where, what fee are you willing to pay? Because he's turned down Villa, he's turned down Tottenham, and again, I know Bilbao were interested, but that was only a loan. So I guess we'll see. But to answer your question a long way, Rich, yes, I think we're favourites. But if we had a stumbly season, it wouldn't surprise. I still think we'll make top four, no problem. But I'm not as confident on winning the league as what I was last season.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think
I don't know. I'm weird with it.
Yeah, and I think probably we need to talk about the other top four, because I think what I kind of see last season, this is why I perhaps said for Arsenal it was the slam dunk, it was the chance they had. I kind of feel last season City till after the World Cup, we weren't ourselves. We really weren't. We played from that Copenhagen game in October pretty much through till after the World Cup. We were as poor as we've been since Pep's first season, and people kind of forget that, because we were so good once Pep figured out how to get that control and we started firing. We were so good. So I think Arsenal had a kind of free hit. I think Arsenal were great until the last 2 months and 3 months, and then ultimately they played us 3 times, they lost 3 times yet again. In the big moments they lost it, and I don't necessarily see that in signing some good players to sign this summer, that necessarily solves that. The problems they have is not having an out and out goal scorer, and not having real winning experience leaders, and I know they've got winning experience from Jesus and Zinchenko, but they're not the real John Terry.
He's injured, by the way.
Types. Yeah, he is.
And that he's injured, and he's out for I've heard about
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah. Newcastle overachieved, but I think this year's going to be hard, because I think Liverpool will be a much better side than last year. I think Chelsea are going to be, they're going to be a much better side than last year. Tottenham will probably be better than last year. Villa are stronger. Brighton, who knows? And Brighton keeps surprising us to the up. I think Newcastle will be stronger. I'm not going to tip United for relegation this year. I think they'll probably be, over the season as a whole, a bit stronger. So I actually think there's going to be more points taken amongst those top clubs from each other, because I think it's actually going to be a bit stronger. I think last year was pretty weak. I think, Newcastle, you could say, had a great season. Arsenal had half a great season. But most of the other big clubs, with the exception of us post-January, were poor, by their own standards. And the World Cup threw a real, made it really complicated. So I actually think there's going to be some surprises at the top. I think the top's going to be a bit closer. Not necessarily. I think I think we'll come through. But I think from 7th or 8th to 2nd, I think it's going to be.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I think the best way to do this. Let's start with Arsenal. Their transfer window so far: Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Jurien Timber, and they are currently in negotiations for the goalkeeper at Brentford. Can't remember his name. Thank you, David Raya.
Yeah.
Have Arsenal strengthened, like to a point of closing the gap? Do you think?
No. And I'll be quite honest. I was having this chat with my friend the other day. You put City and Arsenal together, and you say, even if you say Arteta is close to Pep in management skills, where I still think there's a fair gap there. Who do you pick if you put those two teams together? Who in Arsenal's team would you genuinely think you can have some out? You genuinely think you put in that City side and you pick them for the Premier League? I think Saka, and after Saka, I think you have to make an argument for. I wouldn't play Martinelli above. I think Grealish offered far more in the Premier League last year over Martinelli. I'm saying that beyond Saka, I think, and even Saka, if you play Bernardo there, I'd play Bernardo above Saka, but I'm thinking Bernardo's in midfield. I think you play Saka, and if you play Bernardo wide and not Saka, you might pick Odegaard.
Have Arsenal got a better squad depth than us though this year? Because they've kept Partey, they've kept the players that they thought were going to go haven't gone. So if you look at their bench right now and look at our bench, I think Arsenal have a better bench than us right now.
They've got a deeper strength.
This is what I'm saying.
Squad, but I don't know that. I don't know that they're. Yeah, but ultimately, terrible injuries aside, that first 11, should be the basis of the side in 30 games in the Premier League.
That's
not
what I'm
all
saying,
together
Rich.
at the same time.
Take our first 11 out. Have we got the right now? I'm talking right now because we don't know where we're going to land in 4 weeks' time with the window. Right now, the squad depth concerns me because after the 11 and our defence, we are very, very thin.
I would say that in our battles against Liverpool had a deeper squad than us in nearly every season in terms of those 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 players. And that's the thing. I just look at the gap in quality between us and Arsenal. And I'm not just saying this to troll Arsenal fans, but I would pick Edison over Ramsdale. There's an argument. Could I find a place in our team for Saliba? I think Saliba's is a top quality player, but is he better than Diaz, Stones? No, he's not. So, does he get inside midfield? I think Rice is brilliant, but is he better? The whole thing with the Rice island was he's not better than Rodri. He's not better than Rodri.
I know, Rich. But
Odegaard's not better than De Bruyne.
Their backup is Thomas Partey. Our backup's Kalvin Phillips. And I'm not digging Phillips out there. And I'm not. And I'm really not, because we're going to go on to Kalvin Phillips in a bit. I'm desperate for Kalvin Phillips to do well. But let's be straight and honest now.
But
he's not going to make it, Rich.
Is Thomas Partey better than John Stones? No. So if if we had Stones having to come in for 4 games, and
you're coming out with wild statements here now. So our centre back is better than their CDM, who they said was the best CDM in the world.
Well, I reckon our centre back is one of the best players in world football at the moment. I think Stones.
What about Lavia? Oh no, we'll come on to Liverpool. Sorry, I thought he was. So I think whilst Arsenal have strengthened, I don't think, to me, the difference between them and us last year, obviously we were light years above them at the end, was they didn't have that John Terry type figure in the team to keep them in line. And I thought the 3 times we played them, at every time, our character, as much as our ability, our character beat them. And they do not have anyone in that squad, to me, who has the leadership that some of our players have, and say a John Terry have. And I don't think they have a striker who scores goals
as well as Alvarez, let alone Haaland.
Yeah, true. Muddy Duck's got a part on his part.
Yeah,
we are doing ground.
Money Duck. You actually beat me to it because I was about to say, Martin, if you've got a problem with the depth, then you've got a problem with our squad numbers from last season.
Except we have changed Muddy Duck because it was me who was all worried about Rodri last year.
No.
And I'm feeling more relaxed this year about it.
I mean, I'm not worried. I'm not sat here going, we're in crap. No, I'm not. I'm very relaxed.
As I mentioned before, Martin, do you feel like this is a little? Most Blues are having a little bit of a honeymoon period right now.
Yes.
Given what we've just done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask you both a question. Do you think, and this is probably the crux of it, do you think that the reason we had so few injuries last year was luck? And, or what percentage of it was luck? And what percentage of it is the fact that we rotate better, have a really good medical team, and we actually played a long game, and we really think about long-term players' fitness when we pick them and when we rest them.
The rotation.
Sorry, Mark, I was just going to say just quickly, Rich. I think our medical team took the luck out of it.
Yeah,
they were amazing, absolutely amazing. They deserve. If there's a Ballon d'Or for medical teams, then they bloody deserve it.
Yeah, and that's the question. If that's the case, then we've got a lot less reason to worry than if it was just pure luck.
The rotation, I disagree with a bit because it was now come out. Pep rotated the least amount he's ever done being at City last year. Weirdly enough, I don't know why. It's weird that how we rotated the least that he's ever done.
He did it narrower, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and we won the treble.
Narrower and more often. Yeah.
It was really weird. We won the treble with remember Klopp years ago where he won the league on just playing the same 11 after 11. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And it was like
because no one got injured. No one got injured.
Yeah. No one got injured.
You know what we did last year?
That's what we did a bit last season. Because if you remember the back end of last season, we didn't even have to predict the 11. We kind of went, we know the 11.
Yeah.
And it
was only the last. It was only the last 4 or 5 big games that happened. I think it was about February, March. Yeah. Do you know what I think though, Martin? Is I think, and I'd be interested. I have to go and look at the stats on this. I think we rotated less in terms of the numbers, but I think we changed the team. Apart from those last few, semi-finals, final, we changed the team 1 or 2 players every game, but we didn't go to a big pool of players. It was 16, 17 players trusted for everything. And we stuck
Kalvin Phillips.
Those players. Yeah.
It sounds like I'm picking on him, and I'm not. I'm really not. Pat. Liverpool. A lot of people really talked about them, including me, that they'll be back.
Yep.
They didn't do the Jude Bellingham road. They've got Szoboszlai from Leipzig. They've got McAllister very early. And they're trying to get Lavia. Does that midfield, obviously Henderson's gone, Fabinho's gone. They've lost a lot of experience out. But if they get Lavia and they rebuild that midfield, is it enough? Because they've sold a lot. They really have. Milner's gone. Firmino's gone. Naby Keita's gone. Carvalho's gone on loan. Like I said, Henderson's gone. Fabinho's gone. Yes, they bought well. Have they allowed too much experience to go out the door like some fans have said we have?
I would have to say, yeah, I think so. But and I think it was a smart move for them to give the captaincy to Van Dijk as well too. But I think fellow Yusuf, by the way, I think he alluded to in the comment section, you posted it just before, where because they haven't necessarily strengthened in defence, then he's hit the nail on the head there. They're in a similar situation to what we were in the 1920 season when Liverpool won the league. Laporte went down and we were royally screwed for months in defence. If they have one major injury to their defence, and it doesn't matter how well they bolster their midfield, they're going to be absolutely under the pump in defence over the course of the season. So I think I like the business that they've made. They've made shrewd signings. McAllister for 35 million is, in my opinion, could be already in the summer is potential future signing of the season.
Rich's dog agrees.
Yeah,
I wish
And
we'd signed.
that's all
I
that
missed
matters.
your
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah,
I think it's
I just
very,
reckon,
very
yeah.
smart, shrewd business. Szoboszlai, he's played well in the Bundesliga. We'll have to wait and see if he can do it in the Premier League. But if he's going to be Bundesliga tax the city pay for, then he could be a good player. But if it's any other,
I'm fascinated to
see.
see.
But
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see McAllister.
yeah,
Because I think he should have signed for City. I think he's that perfect 6'8", 10 midfielder. You know, great potential, brilliant price. So for me, I'll be interested to see how he goes at Liverpool. I think one thing Liverpool will improve Liverpool considerably is if they finally realise that Trent isn't a fullback and they do keep him in midfield permanently, because I think, you know, I've never said he's not a good footballer, and I think he'll be a very good footballer if he's played properly. But I think they need to put a right back who can defend, and I think if they do that, and you know, Trent will also go into one of those midfield slots, and he's a expensive midfield signing as well.
Do they need a centre back? As in, because there's a lot of talk. I know there was rumours of Bardio that they had a little nibble.
Yeah.
But I think it was just, can we, how much would it be? They got told the price, and I think they shit themselves back. But is Matip Van Dijk, because I'm gonna say something totally outrageous now. Sorry, Yusuf. To me, Van Dijk's coming to the end of his career. Top flight football. I'm talking top echelon Champions League winning. But I don't think he's been the same since his
injury.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah,
not close to the same. You know,
nowhere
he was.
Near it.
You know,
and I do think that Matip, no, don't think he's good enough at all. I look at Liverpool's defence, and I think soft centre they can be majorly got at. Yeah. Salah is how old now? 32?
30. Is he 32? Wow.
31, something.
But his injury history is impeccable. He could still be playing top football for another 2 or 3 years.
Forever.
No, I get that, but he can still be an effective player for a few more seasons.
I think Nunez is still out.
They've got
given the price tag, yeah. Look,
Joe, they've got a few things on the positive side. They don't have Champions League football. They don't have Champions League football, and you go back to 2014, where they really challenged for their title in 2014, and perhaps if it hadn't been for Slippy G, they would have got that title. That was not having Champions League football, and I think we can't underestimate how that is going to allow their biggest problem, Liverpool, for years, and I think Klopp's biggest problem as a manager is overplaying and is such intense football and overplaying players. And then, they were the better team than Real Madrid 2 years ago when they got to for the whole season in that Champions League. But by the time they got to the end of the season, they were knackered. That was just a team that looked like it had played the day before, full members cup 1985 style, when they played Real Madrid in the Champions League final. So I think the not having Champions League will be a big help. I think Trent into midfield will be a big help. And they've got what they have got, which no other team in the Premier League has, is they are the one team I think that Pep actually respects and sometimes fears. And I think that's because Klopp, because of a solid team. So I think Liverpool, I don't think they're going to come above City, but I think Liverpool will be a big challenge to second place and a much, much improved season. But have they got a spine?
Second place?
No. Yeah, I think Liverpool will get to second.
Jeez, I can't wait to see where you're putting us when we do top four in a bit. Right.
Look, sorry, Martin, just quickly just to go into what we're talking about with obviously Henderson and Fabinho leaving as well too, is you look at the other midfielders that currently got two. You got Thiago. We've got to wrap him up in cotton wool because he seems to get injured every few weeks. Now, and they're talking about getting Lavia in, which would be a good addition. Don't get me wrong, but what you're effectively doing there is you're letting Fabinho and Henderson go, and then your replacement for the midfield is going to be a 19-year-old number 6. That's a lot of pressure on a young man at Anfield when you're expecting to come back, trying to improve on what was probably a poor season for them. They wanted Champions League football. Now they're playing now they'll be playing every Thursday and Sunday. I just think it's a lot of pressure on Romeo Lavia to go into that number 6 role, especially if he's asked to play that number 6 role by himself.
Oh, by the way,
I'm not sure if Muddy Duck's trolling there, because I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, when you've got De Bruyne, Bernardo, Foden, Haaland, Alvarez, Grealish, I'm not saying that's worse.
Can be that, isn't it? No, right.
Yeah.
Pat. Done Arsenal, done Liverpool. Did we do Tottenham?
I was just thinking you were going to make a joke about doing Spurs then, but
Chelsea. I'm going to go through what they have done, and people are going to laugh at me now because they're like, Chelsea. This is now a very different Chelsea. Don't look at Chelsea from last season. It's now different. They now, for me, my opinion, have a very, very good manager in charge. I think Poch is a very good manager. They have literally got rid of the dead wood out of that door. Yes, some will say lots of dodgy deals. All of a sudden, Saudi Arabia came along, and by the 30th of July, 30th of June, everyone was all gone, and, they just beat the deadline they had. But, let's look at it. Kante's gone. Koulibaly's gone. Kovacic is obviously gone. Mendy's gone. Havertz is gone. Loftus-Cheek is now officially gone. Mason Mount's gone. Pulisic gone. Pulisic is gone. Aubameyang is gone. Mm-hmm. They've literally got rid of anyone and everyone.
They're hoping to get rid of Lukaku finally.
Lukaku, yeah. But, I don't know what he's doing because he's trying to do dodgy deals behind everyone's back in.
No, right, yeah.
They brought in Nkunku. They brought in Payas. They brought in Julian Richards. They brought in Nicholas Jackson from Villarreal. Alex Matos from Norwich. Diego Marrero from Benfica. They brought in Samuel Smith from Everton. And they brought in Gabriel from Santos. And Ukochui from Rennes. And there is also other rumours today that they were trying to get somebody else in. And I can't remember who that was. But anyway, have Chelsea done enough to get back to top 4 for you?
If they get things right, yes, because that's the one thing about a Chelsea team. They can have a poor season, and then given the signings or a new manager, especially the Abramovich days, because they seem to change managers every 2 seasons, you don't know. With them, it's like walking into a dark room. You're really not sure what you're going to get out of them. They could absolutely come jumping out of the blocks early in the season and, be 5 points clear by Christmas and that too. But
sorry, Pat, I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at Muddy Daughter's reply to it.
Or they could be, or they could be mid-table by Christmas. You just don't know. There's so much inconsistencies, and the players they've bought. I'm sure the players that they've bought are bought because Poch wants them. But
is Poch the kicker?
If it doesn't, sorry,
is Poch the kicker though?
I think Poch was the right move given at the time. He knows. I think he's. I wouldn't say. Look, given his history with Spurs, he did have them relatively close to a title push on more than one occasion a few seasons back. If he's good enough to get him all the way through to a league, that still remains to be seen. I still think I wouldn't put him in the same bracket of trying to win a Premier League in the same as, say, Eddie Howe. He may be a little bit better than that. But
what? Sorry, repeat that again.
Like I'm using like in terms of different levels of who I think is a good enough manager to win a Premier League title. I think he's.
Did you say Howe's good enough to win a league?
No, I say he's above Eddie Howe in terms of.
Right. I was going to say.
I'd say he's just above Eddie. He's just above Eddie Howe. I think Eddie Howe's good enough to get Newcastle a cup, but he's just not good enough to get in the league. That's all. That's just my opinion. And I think Pochettino is just a little bit above that. Look, they're so inconsistent. But you don't know whether they're going to strike gold or land in a sewer drain. You really don't know what you're going to get out of Chelsea. There's as many question marks about the new signings as there are about all the signings that they made last year for the inevitable result of 12th in the league. So it's for me, it's a difficult one to sort of predict with them.
Rich, Chelsea.
I think Pat's absolutely spot on. I think Chelsea are they're the ones who are this kind of random mystery, and they always have been. They've come back and won doubles after they've had a terrible season. They've won the Champions League when they've had a terrible season, and they've had terrible seasons when they've had terrible seasons. So for me, they've got a lot of talent in that squad. They've got a lot of good players. I'm still not sure that Nkunku's the number 9 that they really probably need as a focal point. I still think he's probably better playing, more of a kind of Sterling kind of, wide front 3 role. I don't see who their real, out and out leader is. So I'm not sure they have a spine yet to win the league, but there's so much quality in that team that if the manager can galvanise them and get them playing and decide, roughly what the first 11 is and how they're going to play, they've got immense potential for improvement. And, but what they don't yet have is that, I don't think they'll be able to manage the consistency to challenge for the title because, ultimately in the Premier League, you can only afford a few hiccups. And with all their finding their feet and changes, they're going to have more than a few hiccups. But by all means, I can see them challenging for top 4 again. And, again, they've got what Liverpool have. They haven't got Champions League football to be, worrying about and, concentrating on. So I think that gives them, the scope to spend more time, on the training pitch, coming up with that identity. So I think they'll improve. I don't think they're going to be challenging first or second. But
if they get Caicedo, Rich, I'm sorry, by the way, we are going to have to speed up a little bit because we've still got 2 more topics. We're only 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start speeding up. So I do apologise.
Caicedo helps them, but Caicedo is yet another. Caicedo is what they've got an absolute ton of. Very high potential, very good, and I think they've got a lot of very good, high potential players.
Who's their CDM right now?
I don't know who plays anywhere for him now. That's what I don't really know. Yeah, I mean,
the big question for me at Chelsea is who's going to be the captain? Because to me, off the top of my head, the squad you think about, most of that squad wouldn't have been at Chelsea for less than 2 seasons.
Is Silva still there? Is he gonna?
Yeah, as far as I know, he still is. Yeah.
So is he gonna be Thiago,
yeah.
That Jackson looks fine. I will say that Jackson looks really, really
I think
promising.
Yeah. I think
Nkunku alike. I think they'll just
Reece James is a great player,
Yeah.
Enzo great potential. He looked rubbish. Mudryk was great potential.
The reason I'm saying I'm not sure about Chelsea is because, let's be honest, I think you talk to most Chelsea fans, they'll probably say they're not sure either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really don't know what you're going to get out of them. And I think for them, given the terrible season last season, and the fact that they only have to focus on domestic football this season as well too, I wouldn't call it a free hit, but they can just go all out every single weekend and just go for the 3 points. Now, Arsenal proved last season that playing every 7 days for a title push does not help. No. So for that reason, that's why when we get to March, April, we get the business end of the season. I think for them, playing every 7 days isn't exactly going to help them either if they're going to if they're in a position to push for a title.
Right. Let's go. Do they make the top 6? Yes or no?
Yes.
Rich?
Just.
Right. Let's move to a couple of dark horses. Newcastle. Aston Villa.
Is one of them a dark horse? I think one of them isn't really a dark horse now.
Oh, give over Rich. Give over Rich. No. You're doing what? I've been on loads of Newcastle and think they're getting first or second. They're living in a dream world. I don't mean this in such a disrespectful way. And I genuinely have no issue with Newcastle. I wish them all the best and they will do very well. But this first or second stuff is pipe dreams. And because there are about 3 clubs that are stronger than them. Yes, and the other thing is, I think Newcastle have lost the surprise factor now. People didn't have any respect for Newcastle last season. If you know what I mean, there was no fear to them. There was no scared. Oh, right. This season, they'll all treat Newcastle very, very differently now. They won't be given the space. They won't be given the time. So, is Harvey Barnes?
But Martin,
Tonali's a great signing.
Yeah, you're ignoring one massive factor.
Go on.
They've got Chris Wood back.
No, they haven't. John.
I thought
he's at Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest can't even plug in, Rich.
I thought the end of the loan. I thought he was back.
No loan, mate. Notts Forest bought him for 17 million.
They've signed him.
Yeah, he's at Forest now.
They've sold him.
They're screwed. They've got no hope.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think Newcastle, personally, will finish 5th, 6th. I don't think they'll make top 4. But the simple fact is they've got Champions League football. And as much as that's exciting, they're going to find it very, very different now. Because, yes, playing in a cup game and every 3 days with the World Cup's great, but playing Brighton on a Wednesday night is very different than going to the Santiago Bernabeu on a Wednesday night. Yeah. Very, very different.
Do you think the key for Newcastle? Do you think the key for Newcastle might be who they get in the group stages of the Champions League? Because if they get a group of death,
they're going to get the group of death no matter what.
Yeah, if they're going to get a group of death, which is more than likely, then I think they'd be more concerned about top 4, putting their eggs in the top 4 basket. If they get a more favourable group, like let's say they might get like a Benfica, maybe not Benfica because they're actually a good team, but they get teams that given any day of the week that they could probably actually get like results from, then they might actually consider actually starting to go for a little bit more of a cup push. The reason why I say this is because I'm putting this in the same conversation as Aston Villa, because in my opinion, I think Aston Villa might actually have a crack at the Conference League and may have a good chance at cracking the Conference League. The reason I say that is because of their manager, Unai Emery, because he's been there before. He knows how to win those competitions. So I feel like if they were going to put their eggs in the Conference League basket into the Europa League, then they may drop off a little bit more in the league than what they did last season. So I think for them, it's like they've signed well, they've got good consistency, they've got good depth in that. But I think given the fact that they've exceeded all expectations, this is both teams, by the way, Villa and Newcastle. Yeah. The fact that they exceeded expectations last season, they've got into Europe. Now the question for me becomes: have they got the depth to be able to fight on both fronts? If not, what eggs are they going to put?
By the way, sorry to interrupt. Woodie's got a point. Is it top 5? Has that been confirmed yet? UEFA haven't confirmed that yet, have they? We're still, as far as aware, at top 4.
I heard something, yeah.
I don't think the UEFA have made their decision yet and who gets them extra places. So, for the time being, we're top 4. But that may change. It's not been confirmed yet, so I don't know. But I think that's a great point you just made. Newcastle, listen, there may be a dark horse in the Champions League. I'm not saying they won't. I'm not saying Newcastle won't. I think Tonali Gomes is a fantastic midfield. He's one of the better ones in the whole league.
I think the smart thing is Tonali's going to allow Bruno Guimaraes to actually play a little bit further forward.
Yes. And I think, my theory on Newcastle is that I don't think there's a huge difference in solidity and the circumstances between Newcastle and Arsenal. I think the difference is, to me, Newcastle fans have held some realism that I don't hear many Newcastle fans saying they're going to win the league.
Oh, Rich, I go on Newcastle channels, mate.
Okay, yes, so maybe I missed those ones, but Arsenal fans, to me, are already celebrating the title. I mean,
no, a lot of the hosts, Rich,
the new Scousers.
A lot of the hosts who host the channels are quite, fight for top 4. Yeah, they're quite reasonable. A lot of the people who run the channels, the people in the comments, who are like the Newcastle fans, they're all like, "Oh, I think we could challenge for the title. I think we can pinch second." And so there is that, because I think My thing is, I look at Newcastle and they're where we were 10 years ago. The problem is everyone now has money though. And this is my point with Newcastle. Having a rich owner doesn't mean you can then spend willy-nilly anymore. It's now different because it's now no longer FFP, it's FSR. And you can basically, so what FSR is, you can only spend what you make. So your spending goes on your revenue. Newcastle don't have a big revenue because they've only just been taken over, and because of the shit street, their former owner put them in. Now, their former owner, Mancunian, wasn't someone who took all the money out. He didn't put them in any debt, but he didn't do any good financial deals for him either.
No.
Yeah.
So the problem is for Newcastle, it's great having a rich owner, but it doesn't mean anything because they can't spend it.
Yeah.
They're not allowed to.
Or
So
if
that's
they do,
because you
others have to go
yourself-
out the door.
Yeah, in 5 years' time, do you think they're buying Livermento and Harvey Barnes?
Yeah.
No.
The difference
Where
is
we
that
were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
in some ways, though,
They just got to take they've got to take baby steps because
Yeah.
the regulations.
But do you not think,
Awesome.
in some ways, I think taking baby steps might actually help them because they are building
Oh, because how
quality
did they
a bit
close
more
the gap,
slowly and a
Rich?
bit more steadily.
How did
Well,
they close the gap?
It's all baby steps.
think-
You've got to season by season, gradually.
They can't.
gradually
This is what I'm
progress.
saying.
But there's
We
two
could
gaps.
close
in
the
that.
gap, Rich, because there was no limitations. The limitations
Yeah.
came in 3 years after we got taken over. What? So we could close a gap. Now there's a billionaire owner at nearly every football club in the country.
But but the point is here that which gap are you talking about? There's two gaps. There's the gap to City, and there's the gap to second. I think they can close the gap to second, and I don't think money's the solution to that because United, Arsenal, Liverpool, they've all outspent us in the last
That's
5
not
years, and they've
confirmed
not
yet, Mark.
they've not closed they've not closed the gap to Guardiola. Money isn't necessarily the answer. In fact, Arsenal closed the gap more probably in a season where they spent more like Newcastle, signing 40 million players, than when Arsenal were going out, paying 80 million for Pepe and 80 million for Aubameyang and those big signings. Arsenal closed the gap when they gave a few of their younger players a chance and went and signed quality 40 million players from teams like City. So, the Arsenal signings last year, are they those types of signings more like, a Tonali to do that? I mean, I just think Newcastle and Arsenal are kind of in the same boat. I think they'll have the same problems, the same weaknesses. I think the difference is Arsenal are probably slightly better, but I think Arsenal are putting huge expectations on themselves, and I'm not sure I see that from Newcastle. And so that might help when the pressure's down, because I think everything at Arsenal's aligned. But if they go through a bad run in the first half of the season, I think you're going to start to see some problems in their fans about things. I think they got forgiven last year because they've got giddy, they've got like the Scousers, and I don't think that helps. I think you need to be grounded and you need to be realistic.
At the moment, I'm just checking Mark Fogg, and I can't find it anywhere, mate. I've looked on Sky, BBC. I don't know if it is confirmed because it also goes off your coefficient.
It's not confirmed yet, but I believe they're trying to get the fifth spot for the following season when the 36 teams come in under the Swiss League format.
Yeah, and it also goes.
They're saying that fifth spot will be determined by the English club's UEFA coefficient. If it doesn't reach a certain amount, then it goes to another league or somewhere else with a higher.
Not only that, this is what I was saying.
So it's like a top 4.5.
Yeah, I mentioned it last year. It's not actually top 5 who get it. No, Mike, don't have to apologise, mate. No worries. It's not top 5. So, for example, say Everton get 5th and United got 6, United would actually get it above Everton. Because United have a higher coefficient rating.
So it's like a provision. So it's like a provisional spot, but coefficient determines whether you go through.
It's basically like match fixing in a way. Do you remember when we did a show? Do you remember, Rich? And we said, Well, it just guarantees United and all them stay in the Champions League.
Exactly.
Well, it guarantees City above anyone.
Exactly. That's what I'm
We've now
saying.
got the highest. So
Newcastle
you're saying
are actually bottom of
if
that.
you look at United's coefficient, like they've been consistent. They've been a little bit yo-yo out of the Champions League over the last 10 years or so, and this coefficient is still close to 100.
So,
only Bayern,
question for you.
Atletico, Real Madrid, us, and maybe one other team have a higher coefficient than they do.
Yeah,
I haven't
It's
forgotten your super
it's
chat.
just something that don't make sense of.
I've saved it. I'm coming to super chat.
Question for you. Could we get relegated for financial fair play to non-league and then still have the highest coefficient and be the first non-league player, be the first non-league team to play in the Champions League and win the nationwide?
That'd be hilarious.
National League North champions, Manchester City.
Never
apologise,
Matt. Never apologise.
That is a double. That is brilliant.
There's your shit-house quadruple there. Vauxhall
spot on though. Let's be
honest. Vauxhall Conference League and European champions.
This is the problem. Fifth spot is for the Red Cartel.
Yeah.
Because like Aston Villa, if Aston Villa had a really good season and finished fifth, and they're all going, yay, Champions League.
And then Liverpool United had a terrible season in sixth, but still get Champions League.
Yeah. Because the 6 times winning. It is. So this is what I mean. In a way, you've got to remember, this was UEFA's counter to the Super League. If Luton Town I'm not saying they will, have a fantastic season and finish fifth, you think UEFA want Luton Town in it?
I think the whole football community wants them there, but unfortunately,
anyway,
could you imagine the European night at Kenilworth?
There's talk of Saudi Arabia, Alan. I think it's Al Nassr, the team that have come in.
Alan, Laporte's wages, he's only on 120k a week.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
He's only on
very
affordable wages. Yeah.
He's only on 120k. He's not anywhere near 200. Anyway, right, we're gonna have to. And then the other one was Aston Villa, who I think are the major dark horses there, because believe it or not, they've got a billionaire owner. Everyone suddenly forgets. An Egyptian fella, can't remember his full name. But yes, they've really gone out and spent. Pau Torres, Moussa Diaby, that Newcastle were very going after. And what's the other one? Who's the other one this night? Oh, Tielemans, Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah, for free.
I honestly think, I don't know about you fellas, but Aston Villa, I'm not saying winning the title. I think they could be a dark horse for top 4.
Possibly, but the other thing is, do you think Aston Villa might be the club that determines where a lot of clubs end up finishing in the league this season, especially top 4, top 6 clubs? Because I think they're going to give a lot of the top 6 clubs a very, very good run for their money. I wouldn't be surprised if there's 1 or 2 clubs there where they end up getting 6 points from, win the home and away fixtures. They're going to be very, very formidable at Villa Park. You don't just look at the new signings too, but I think Ollie Watkins seems to be improving every season as well too. So if he gets the right service around him, he could have a very, very, very good season as well too. So I think if there's one club in the Premier League that's probably going to have the biggest microscope on them in terms of are they going to go ahead or are they going to fall back, it probably would be Aston Villa. They're probably, for me, they're the most curious team. The team that I really want to keep an eye on and see what they can do this season as well. But again, I still think Unai Emery might consider putting his eggs in that Conference League basket. He's done it before. He knows how to win that competition. Yeah. I think he could really push them for a cup run. I really do.
For me,
by the way, Nobbins, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's Brighton I'm most uncertain about, because Brighton have lost McAllister, but they've shown an incredible ability to sign good players, and they've got some really good young players coming in who could replace that. I'm still not convinced of them, ultimately having enough goals. But, Brighton I look at and think, well, they could lose Casido, Mitoma, and, I don't think they're going to get Colwell, are they, this year? So they could be a lot weaker. But if they keep those players, and, they don't get injuries, their football is better than any other team in the league, bar City, last season. they were, you know, a poor man's City in the sense they didn't have Haaland, they didn't have our strength physically, they didn't have the ultimate quality to finish, but they were a brilliant team, and I'm quite fascinated to see whether, you know, if they carry on like they were last season, they're a threat in every single game. They're a threat home and away against every team in that
you're
league.
doing it again. Sane's not coming, Rich. You and Ozzy can have your little private little chats. Sane's not coming in that little conversation now.
He's at the Hilton tonight.
No, he's not, Rich. Sane's not coming.
He had dinner with Pep in the Hilton.
He's at the Gotham Hotel because it's only like a block's walk away from Tascatella.
I found it hilarious that I finally found the hill for Martin to die on, and it's no Leroy Sané never coming back to City.
Yeah, by the way, Nobbins in the chat. If you haven't subscribed to Nobbins' channel, go and do it. Top fella, goes on loads of shows, really good City fan, and really good financial knowledge.
His video about Gavardio, by the way, from a couple of days ago was fantastic. It was really, really good content.
Everyone agrees with me about Villa looking good. Oh, Alan's his background. All I can see is his glasses.
Oh.
Hang
How are
on,
you guys.
Hang on. Stop. How come we've just lost about 45 viewers? Right. Okay. I'll go through it this way. How? Yeah. Thank you. Nobbins agrees with me. The era of Leroy's done. Sadly, it's done. It's finished. Move on. Ain't happening. Anyway, Ozzy's come out with an even bigger shout. He's saying Pochettino's going to be sacked. Wow. Right. Top four then. Pat, give us your top four.
From fourth to first.
Oh, you're doing reverse order. All right.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah. Newcastle.
Yep.
Arsenal.
Wow.
I hate to say it, I think United.
Have you noticed we actually purposely
And
left
City.
him out? I left United out. I can't talk about them.
No.
Okay. Rich, top four.
Arsenal fourth.
What? You think they're going to speak? Arteta will get sacked in a jiffy. Fourth place.
Well, he might well get sacked. We'll need a new assistant manager next season, after the season after. So, you know,
Why?
maybe.
Wanlilo, you've sacked Wanlilo again.
No, he'll get
Yeah,
the job,
if we
won't
win the league again, then Lilo
he'll
goes somewhere
get
else. So
he'll
then
get
I'll
the
take
Wanlilo's
job.
come back and Rich has sacked him.
I think
Sorry,
Arsenal
Wanlilo.
fourth.
Arsenal, can't believe it.
I've got a real dilemma. I think City come first, Liverpool second, and I keep changing. I think Newcastle, Arsenal, and United will be third, fourth,
No,
and
Rich,
fifth.
top
I
four.
really,
No, I'm nailing it.
Yeah.
Nail it.
and
Top
I'm
four,
really
say it.
struggling. I'm really struggling to work
No,
out.
Rich,
Well,
come on. This is getting nailed.
I guess in the, you know, I have some basic principles. I'll have to say Newcastle third, Arsenal fourth.
Rich, when you're getting your
As
season
in-
ticket at St James's Park?
Why would I want to go and watch a team coming third? You know,
Ooh. Alan, I know you're late to this party. No worries, mate. What is your top four?
I think third will be Liverpool.
Ooh, good shout.
City top. Man United second. Liverpool third, and fourth will be Arsenal.
My top four. Check out in a future video.
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
Honestly, what is he like?
Right, no, I'll say it. Top four from reverse order. Fourth,
Brighton.
Aston Villa.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
They have bought.
I
They have bought
really feel, you know, Unai Emery and Villa just seem to fit like a glove.
Yes, he does. Correct.
Just
Yeah,
seem
he does.
to fit, and the way
Is
he's
that
not
like
getting
an
playing-
Is that like an OJ Simpson glove or? Just a regular guy.
We'll get cancelled before we even get rolling.
God.
Cancelled. No, Villa, I just think when I look at Villa with Unai Emery, I look at Unai Emery in Villarreal and the way he got them rolling. And I'm like, ooh. And then Seville. And I'm like,
But then if you're thinking of Emery for Villarreal, then you're thinking more of a cup run team rather than a league.
yeah,
run.
no, but that's what it's a kind of mixture between Villarreal and
I think
Seville.
I think if they're just consistently mid to just above mid table, then they'll go for Conference League. They'll go for the Conference League run.
Yeah, but I think if they're in the
Because they've got
shout,
a perfect manager for it.
I think they could can the Conference League. Even meant
It's one or
third
the other.
place.
It's one or the other. If they're going for top four, then they won't. I don't think they'll be too concerned about Conference League.
Third place.
But if they're mid to table, like 10th to 7th, maybe 6th, then I think they'll focus on Conference League.
So I'm going Aston Villa fourth. Third place, Arsenal. Second place, Liverpool. Top spot, Manchester City.
I think you are right though, Martin, on the basis that the biggest hurdle City have got to get over, is their own mindset. Can they go again after last year? I think you're 100% correct about that.
I agree with that. I just think if any team can get over that hurdle, it's City because of the manager.
Correct, but it's not an easy thing to do when you've won the. I feel now after winning the treble, I think I've seen everything I need to see from City now. It's a dream that we've even.
Alan, you missed it. We're going to get relegated to non-league, but qualify for the Champions League with the coefficient.
No, that's different now, Rich. No, Rich.
First National League, Champions League double.
Right.
Well, we're gonna get banned, and then we're gonna win the Champions League in the Championship. Yeah, that was
from the non-league.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Here's the big one. Where do we have United finishing? I have Newcastle 6th, United 5th.
Second, I think second.
United will be 5th. Newcastle will be 6th. And the reason why I've got Newcastle 6th is because I think the Champions League will take their eye off the ball, and I think teams will.
It'll slow down their first half of the season.
Well, I'm going to be very controversial. I'm going to be very controversial here, and I think United will stay up. I think United will stay up this season.
Yeah.
Right, very, very quickly. Let's go around this very, very quickly because it has to be quick. We need to roll. We might even have to do a separate video on Community Shield. Relegated. Mine are very simple. Sheffield United, Luton Town, and Everton. I think Everton will not survive another season.
Okay.
Challenge me a day.
I think you're right about the first two. You mentioned Sheffield United and Luton Town. Luton are definite for me. I don't think they can compete. I'm not sure who that third spot with either it's going to be either Everton are obviously going to be around about that area.
I was thinking Bournemouth because didn't they let go the manager from last season? That was silly of them because they made that what they did that run sort of after January, which basically secured next season for them. He deserves so much praise and accolades for that, and then they let him go at the end of the season.
I agree. Who's gone in there? I don't remember.
So the thing is with Bournemouth, they can be like a bottom half of the table version of Chelsea. You don't know what you're going to get out of them. They could either sit in the bottom three all season, or they could just consistently keep napping away, get these little 3 points here every couple of weeks, and then just by February or March they're safe.
The guy who's got in there,
I'm going to go Luke.
Andoni Areola. He played at Athletic Bilbao, New York City. His coaching career has been at Bournemouth. He was at Rayo Vallecano originally in Spain, Menendez. Okay. But he did start his coaching career at AEK Lanaka. Larnaca. Yeah, get the
Monaco,
words out.
Cyprus.
Yeah.
I think Everton will be fighting it with Bournemouth and teams like that for that spot to keep out who's staying up and who's going down.
Who do you think your the team who's going to have a mare of a season? Like say Chelsea, you probably say with the team last season who had a mare. One team no one's mentioned. Do you think Spurs have a flirt at relegation?
If Spurs don't replace and get a good striker if Kane disappears, then I think they'll struggle.
What about Wolves? Because they've progressively seemed to have gotten worse every single season.
Yeah, Wolves. Yeah, I'm
Wolves
just wondering.
And losing Neves, I don't know. You lose a lot of leadership there. I'm not sure exactly what the transfer business has been this summer, and I'm not sure. But they just consistently seem to just get gradually a little bit worse. I mean, last season they were relatively safe. They've reached the 40 points. Yeah. They finished on 41, which was 7 points above Leicester, and who didn't survive the drop.
And I hate to say it, what do you think? Do you think West Ham will really suffer without?
I was about to say that West Ham will really suffer because they have bought nobody. They've literally brought under the 5 million quid in and not buying anyone.
Yeah, and playing Europa League is going to hurt them as well too.
Oh, but I do know the reason the Carlos Borges deal didn't get done in time is because City were a bit peeved off with West Ham. They got told that earlier today. They were a bit peeved off because they thought City thought they were being used in the Declan Rice deal. City did bid, but it was put out in the wrong way, and they feel West Ham used our bid in a lodge for Arsenal to go again. So City were kind of all right. We'll basically drag our heels over Borges, and he ended up at Ajax. But yeah, I've got West Ham. I don't see what they've done. They've even got rid of Scamacca. He came in for a season from Italy. He's gone back. Like what?
What is it with West Ham and strikers?
I don't know. West Ham could get Maguire. Exactly. They're going down. Right. Coffee, you'll be angry with me because I said I think you'll finish sixth this year because I think Champions League will take a lot out of you.
So just for the record, Luton, Sheffield United and Bournemouth. Yeah. Luton,
United,
Bournemouth.
I told you. United fifth. I told you it'll be City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, United, Newcastle. With three. Right, let's move on to the next part. See, great minds think alike, Coffee. But Coffee will confirm this. Haven't some of your fan base, Coffee, think you could win the league? That Rich thinks I'm telling lies on that. Anyway, but what we're going to do is we're going to have to do a separate show on the Community Shield. I think we're not going to have time. Transfers. Mahrez is gone. Carlos Borges is gone. Shea Charles is gone. There's loads of comments I'm going to get into. Alan did put a super chat in earlier, by the way. I am in Tassie. Sorry, boys, for being at most tonight. That's not been well. Thank you, Alan. He's gone off camera now, but thank you for that. Pat, where are you rating out with our transfer window? Out of, you can do it 1 to 10, A, B, C, whatever you want to do.
Well, before Guardiola, I'd probably say it was about a C plus, and now since now that we've got another Croatian in, which should be confirmed hopefully in the next 24 hours, I'd probably put it at about an A minus, maybe a B plus. You've just basically shored up just shored up a defense again for another 5 to 10 years. So, that's good business. We didn't expect. Probably in a way didn't expect it given the quality of depth we already have in defence. For this transfer window to become an A plus, I would like to see maybe one more midfielder. I'm not too worried about the winger thing. Wingers just don't seem to be on the City menu at the moment. So for me, I think maybe one more midfielder. It doesn't have to be like a big young up and coming name because I do have a bit of faith in Oscar Bob. I do have a bit of faith in James McAtee, but maybe a little bit older, like mid to late 20s, well-established midfielder, somewhat like another Kovacic in a way, not exactly in terms of
where they play, but an older, more veteran, more experienced Premier League sort of midfielder to come in just to add that little bit of depth in the midfield and that. And I think that for me would make the summer window for me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think.
Yeah.
Martin,
Can I just give Ozzy's
say,
predictions very quickly? Sorry.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Ozzy has said, Ozzy's talking out his backside about signing. There. He said City will win the league. City to finish first. Second, United. Third, Liverpool. Fourth, Arsenal. Is Ozzy's prediction.
Can I peel it?
Ozzy's got even further and said we'll retain the Champions League. Ozzy's loving the Champions League. Get it in the chat. If you remember, smack that Champions League down for Ozzy. Going down, he's got Luton, Everton, Brentford. Brentford he's got going down. I'm presuming that's the Ivan Toney loss. Brighton to win the League Cup or FA Cup. He's then got winger sign I'd like to see come out of nowhere is the guy from Napoli. I'm not even going to try and do his name.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to see him?
Not happening because City will not do any business with Napoli. Sorry, Ozzy.
Yeah, until De Laurentiis no longer is the owner.
Until their owner changes, City ain't doing no business with Napoli. And the midfielder Valverde from Real Madrid. And then Rich and Ozzy basically had a bit of a dream signing about Leroy Sané for some weird reason. But it ain't happening. You need to really get over the Leroy Sané stuff. Because it ain't happening.
It's worth thinking about it just to see.
Not worth thinking about it. Leroy Sané is not coming back to Manchester City. Get over it, Rich.
You'd rather have us signing Harry Maguire as captain?
No, wouldn't. We just don't play them kind of wingers anymore, Rich.
He doesn't play that kind of winger, and he hasn't played as that kind of winger for years.
Rich, there was a reason he left City.
Yeah, to become the highest paid player in Germany and keep his place in the German World Cup squad, and it didn't work out for him.
Anyway, hang on, you've been telling me how great he is. Right. Go on. Sorry, carry on where you were at. Ethan's got it as a 3 out of 10. Wow.
You see, I think, I think any summer transfer window where Bernardo Silva stays is a minimum a B or an 8 out of 10, because I'd resign myself to him going. I think he is the hardest player in the entire squad to replace, and I almost even include Rodri in that, or Haaland, because Bernardo Silva is 12 players in one. He is someone who can play in a Champions League semi, right wing, attacking midfield, help out at left back, go alongside the holding midfield. He gives us a flexibility in big games that I don't think any other player in our squad.
I love that. Someone know a right-hand sided Croatian winger.
Yeah. So for me,
does it for me.
Yeah, if Bernardo stays, it's a good window.
Bernardo is 1,000%.
Rich, if Bernardo extends, then if Bernardo was to sign an extension, then this summer
then it's a very good.
It'd be an A++.
Yeah,
absolute
I
A++.
do think So for me, I think my only worry about this transfer window, and it is not a worry about next season, it is if Pep's going to go in 2 years, and who knows? We've thought he's going to go in 2 years. Most of the times he's had 2 years left on his contract. My biggest fear for City is we do a Ferguson and we leave an aging squad, change manager, and that sets us back a lot. So I would like to see us, thinking about replacements for De Bruyne, I guess Walker, we've already done. Mahrez, we talked about Gundogan. I'd like to see us just bring in a few of those players, and they may be from our academy. So we may think that that's Lewis and Bob. But I'd like to see us bring in a few of those younger players, whether we buy them and give them a bit more time next year, so that in 2 years' time, if Pep does go, we've got a young top team.
Rich Nozza, just read it. Thank you. Anyway, sort of moving
But Martin, you were the one talking about depth, not me.
No, listen. Everyone's going about Martin wants fast wingers. You're believing Doku. Who said we're after Doku?
Kevin De Bruyne.
No, we didn't. What I do know is, and this again, what I got told. Think of the seaside. That's who City are looking at.
You've been on Blue Moon too much.
Yeah. Tommy's here doing.
No, it wasn't Tommy. I had that confirmed.
No, you are Tommy's here.
No, I had that confirmed by somebody else today.
Well, if you're thinking seaside, obviously we're thinking Brighton.
And Cisco or Matomo they're looking at. I don't know which one.
And seaside, yeah.
All I know is this is as I got told, this is the longest list of players they've ever had for a transfer window.
Yeah.
The longest list.
You've
never had a list this long. It's like the midfield. That midfield list this summer started at Bellingham to Kimmich to Frankie de Jong to Declan Rice to Caicedo to everything. They've had about 10 names on it. But just because they have 10 names on a list doesn't mean they're bidding for all 10. Now, Doku and Alicia are on a list. But again, I'll make my point is, Alicia has a £35 million release clause. It's not a hard deal to do.
Yeah.
If you wanted him, they'd go and do it. It tells me he's not as high up the list as people think he is.
And they've got this. Yeah, they've got this dilemma, haven't they? I think, and this is probably what's causing the issues in the team is you've got players like Foden and Bernardo who are world class, right? You know, they can be world class right forward. So, you know, we worry about Mahrez, but potentially you've got Bernardo and Foden there, and you've got, you know, who knows what they're going to do with Alvarez because he needs more game time. So, you know, in one way we say, you know, Palmer might go and Mahrez is go. We've got no one there, but then we've got Bernardo and Foden who. So the big question is, to me, is are they going to go and sign a right winger replacement and assume Bernardo Foden more in the midfield, or are we going to go and sign a midfield replacement and assume that Bernardo and Foden play a bit more in that front three? So I'd be interested to see which way we go because I don't think we're decided whether we go and get a midfielder and, you know, push them out more.
Do you know
whether we get a winger.
What it is for me? I look at the people on about winger. You just said it. Look at that right wing. You've got Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Julian Alvarez. People are really sleepy. People think I'm joking with this, but Julian Alvarez can play anywhere across that front three.
Yeah.
He's not going to, for me, he's not a KDB replacement because that's eventually where you want Phil Foden.
And Foden can play, you know, anyway. I mean,
he
be a false nine, but he can play across the front.
See, I hate saying this, what I get told, but you two know who it is, and we can't announce the name on it because out of respect for them. But they work within football.
Cheeky would hate it.
No, it isn't cheeky. They do work within football, who tells us at highest level. Foden has apparently said he doesn't really want to play wing anymore. It's not, he wants to move into the middle. Now, whether that happens, I don't know. The thing with Alvarez is, we can't keep him on the bench again for another year. You're going to have problems. You're going to start going down the Gabriel Jesus mode.
And he's too good. He's too good.
Yeah, he's too good to sit on the bench. So, the simple fact is, do we need a wing? I would rather buy another midfielder than go and get a winger. Because you've got Ronaldo, Grealish, Alvarez, Foden, who can all play there with McAtee and Oscar Bob as your backup. Do we obviously need a midfielder? A winger?
I think do you know what I think what I think we've lost with Gundogan and Mahrez is stats, as in, you know, the actual
not a journalist, someone who works in football.
Yeah, the stats of assists and goals. So I would like us to sign a player, you know, who, you know, can pop up with a goal every fourth game and, you know, can pop up with, you know, an assist every game or two. So I'd like us to replace someone who can come in with a bit of finishing product.
Rich, I think what everyone wants is they want a late season Gundogan. They want somebody who can come in clutch for the last 3 months.
Do you mean he does that for all the season?
Well,
as I mentioned before at the top of the show, I said we don't need to be 10 points clear at Christmas. We just need to be in striking distance.
See, and you've also got to look at it. This is what I'm saying. I know what you're saying, you and Ozzy, and I know half of it is a wind-up. I get it. I know what you're saying. Do you see what I mean? A winger's not an actual winger at Manchester City.
Everyone's just a total footballer at Manchester City.
Exactly.
Now.
So
apart from maybe Haaland,
they're just wider forwards. They're just wider.
Exactly.
Forwards.
So whoever you buy is not a. This is why I don't like using the word winger or midfielder, because it's just not that way at Manchester City.
They've got to have, and
it's got to be a versatile midfielder.
When I say winger, I'm thinking Peter B. Green, Nicky Summerby. If anyone remembers them, they're wingers.
Yeah, but I think when we say winger, we mean the wide forward. We mean the person
that's what I mean.
Either side.
Or reach the versatile midfielder.
Can I just say to this, the person I know is not a journalist. They work within football. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
they're not a journalist.
What I think is that, when City sign a player, we sign a player who we think's intelligent enough to grasp the tactics. We sign a player who we think doesn't lose the ball and so is mature enough to make right decisions. We sign a player, generally we try to, he doesn't go and get pissed and, do something idiotic and, behave too badly off the pitch. And we sign a player who we think can play in many positions. So that's why I think McAllister was the, player, who would have really suited us. I think generally we sign those players. So whether it's, a Georgian winger from Napoli or whether it's, a central midfielder from Paris Saint-Germain, they're going to have those attributes. And, so I think that's the key thing. So whether they're a winger traditionally, whether they're a number 10, whether they're a number 8, whether they're a different 6, they're going to have to be adaptable. They're going to have to be a player who can play on the wing or come into midfield, or, help out. They're going to have those characteristics. And I think that's the most important thing.
That's a good question. Is the Super Cup added on to last year's treble, or is it a new season?
No, I think
it's a competition this season based on the success of last season.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Right.
Because it's similar to Community Shield. You wouldn't have Community Shield.
I'm going to end on this. Kalvin Phillips. I really like the lad. Liked him even more when I watched the documentary on Amazon Prime. And I'm totally in favour of giving him one a year. Mate, give him one a year. I said he had to do, in my opinion, this is all my opinion, I thought he had to do 2 things. Come back early from summer. He did.
Which he did.
And then he had to hit the ground running in pre-season, which he didn't. I'm trying not to be really awful, but deep down, I look at Kovacic, he played in that 6 role. It fit like a glove. And I mean a glove.
Yep. He looks so comfortable in pre-season that being that role.
John Stones, which just talked about, like a glove in that role. I watched Kalvin Phillips. Now, yes, they all played bad against Atletico, admittedly. What worries me is when I see Kalvin Phillips can't even hit a 5-yard pass, then I'm getting worried. The simple fact is, I think Kalvin Phillips is so scared of getting something wrong. When you try so hard.
Yeah, it's in the head, I think.
It's not a witch hunt. What do you want me to say? He's playing amazing. I can't say that. I'm not going to come up here, Ian, and do happy clappy. I can't. I'm going to tell you as I see it. And by the way, did you all give Angelino a year? People didn't give Angelino 5 minutes, may I add. He played 1 game against Liverpool and everyone hung him out to dry. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm not saying don't. What I'm saying is, do I think he'll make it long term? Yeah. No, I don't.
I think the Kovacic one's interesting, but I think I think it's mental for Phillips now. I think it's whether it's a bit of an inferiority complex. And I think that's one thing Kovacic doesn't have. But he spent the last 7 years, hasn't he, at Real Madrid and Chelsea. He's won 3 Champions Leagues or four Champions Leagues at the 2 of them. So the thing is with Kovacic, he doesn't come in with an inferiority complex. He comes in thinking, I've played at this level for the last 7 years. I've won leagues, I've won Champions Leagues just like City. And, he comes in with that confidence. Stones has that confidence because of being at City for 8 years or 7 years, whatever it is now. He knows he's been there, done it. I just think that at the moment it's mental with Kalvin. I think he's a bit scared, and I think he's like, I've played for at the highest level I played at is England, which isn't close to the level of City, and I've played at Leeds, and suddenly I'm fighting with Rodri, and I think there's an inferiority complex.
Exactly. This is my thing. I'm gonna. People accusing me of witch hunt, and I'm not. But this is my point, and then you can go, Rich. I do apologise for that. Super City's play give Kalvin time to judge by Xmas. Because someone tell me when Kalvin Phillips starts at Xmas.
That's a question I was going to ask.
This is what I'm saying. Where is he given the time to play? Because when we roll out against Burnley, I can tell you now who's playing CDM. And it ain't Kalvin Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of the problem. He's got the best CDM in the world in front of him. Is Kalvin Phillips going to be given the chances by Christmas to prove it? Is my point. If you look in pre-season, how many games did he start, Pat? Or minutes did he play? Not a great deal.
It was well less than 3 halves.
There you go. If he's not getting the minutes in pre-season, where's he suddenly getting the minutes in the season from? This is what I'm asking. It's not a witch hunt. I'm trying to be honest with people. He's not getting full games in pre-season. I don't know where we go. This is not a witch hunt. It's okay saying give him till Christmas, but when does he play it before Christmas?
Where does he start? As much as,
That's all I'm asking. It's a question. Because he's got the world's best CDM in front of him.
Well, this comes back to that thing on, on injuries. If we don't have injuries, then there's going to be a lot of things that happen. But if we have injuries, who knows? I mean, we go into that kind of mystery change up the team like we did last season. But Kalvin almost needs us to have a massive injury crisis, him to come in, have a good game, get his confidence back. But, no one wants that. Well, but you almost need Rodri and Stones both to get, injured, and then Kalvin to come in and actually have a good game and change his mentality. Because, if they can figure out how to change his, mentality or how to give him that confidence, there's a footballer there. But no one
very good
in elite sport, no one in elite sport, if they don't have the confidence, can do it. And
Ozzy's with me, by the way. Ozzy agrees with me.
Yeah,
Ozzy's put. I hope you don't mind me reading this out, Ozzy. Phillips not good enough, sad to say, but he needed to do something in pre-season. He didn't take his chances. It's like people say about Peroni, don't they? Peroni ball. How many minutes did Peroni play against Atletico Madrid? 0. If you can't get on the pitch against Atletico Madrid in the pre-season game for any minutes, you have problems. I don't know what people want me. I love Phillips. He's such a nice. I fell in love with him. His mum looks amazing in terms of such a nice lady. Family, ethics, everything about him looks brilliant. But I don't know. I feel really bad for him. I really do. I want him to succeed. But some people have put it FA Cup and League Cup. Is that what a 28-year-old, £45 million Kalvin Phillips wants?
No.
In his second season. And by the way, what happens if we end up drawing United in the by the way, FA Cup can't because that doesn't start till January. So we start League Cup. Say we get drawn against United or Arsenal. Oh, by the way, we don't enter that till the 4th round. This is that's the thing. Will it be Phillips or will he do Rico or Kovacic? Kovacic filled that 6 role, didn't he? Well, enjoying pre-season.
I think Rico Lewis as well.
I don't know. Third round. I don't know. I'm not saying sell him. I'm just saying I feel for him.
Yeah.
And by the way,
yeah.
Anyway, cheers, Rich.
Yeah.
I will see you.
Yeah, well, let's hope I am timed out and Rodri an injury never happens because we don't want it.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Whoa!
Yeah.
Coming around.
Look at that. That's just the crap.
Exactly, top of the league. Depends who you get in the league in the FA Cup. Last year we got Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. He's not playing in them.
Yeah. And let me know when you're doing the preview.
Monday night. We're going to do the preview
because I might not be available, but yeah.
Well, can you do Saturday night?
I can
Sunday morning for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can probably do Sunday morning. I mean, my prediction is that Arsenal win and their fans declare themselves title and declare Haaland's not going to make it.
Saturday night we'll be back with the Community Shield Live. Yeah. But anyway, are you all right to carry on for a bit longer, Pat?
Yeah, I could hang around for a bit.
Yes. Cheers, Rich. Listen, I'm not trying to ever go. Listen, I'm not. People do think it's not a witch hunt against Kalvin Phillips. It's just I want the lad to do well. I really do. But all right, here's a question. What do you do if Kalvin Phillips doesn't play? If Kalvin Phillips doesn't start on Sunday, what then? Because I'm hoping he plays Kalvin on Sunday.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with it. I think more questions will be asked as to why Rodri didn't start. I think the problem I have is that I feel like we kind of want Kalvin Phillips to fall into the same bracket as we do with Stefan Ortega with Edison, where if Edison goes down, we feel like Ortega could do a decent job, for a handful of games. If Rodri goes down for a bit, and this is what scares me because he's probably played as many minutes as anybody over the last 2 or 3 seasons. You get this feeling that sooner or later he's going to go down for a little bit. And if Kalvin Phillips has to come in and cover that role, it just doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence right now.
Do you know what though? There is a player there. Do you know what I think part of it is? He spent all his career at Leeds United under different managers and then played Bielsa ball.
Yeah.
Very hard at 27 years old when he come in, or 26, now 28, well, 27, to unpick all of that. And then you've got the world's best CDM in front of you. And then to top it off, you're playing young kids in front of you.
Yeah.
And then in pre-season, you play Kovacic ahead of him. So it's like, I want him to do so well because I don't know. Because you know what? He's had a lot of admirers. Liverpool have looked. Newcastle were looking. I like Coffee. Hopefully might still be.
West Ham were looking.
West Ham were looking. Chelsea, I've had it confirmed today. Chelsea are currently still looking at him. Chelsea have got him as a Caicedo backup. But I don't think that'll happen because trouble is Kalvin, to his credit, doesn't want to leave. He wants to fight. And I've got every respect for the guy who wants to fight.
Yeah.
But I feel for him because the problem is If he play, imagine he plays Sunday. So you put no chance he plays Sunday. What happens if he does? Makes a mistake, we get beat. The fan base will go pyong with him like that.
Yeah. Because he's one bad performance away from the table. Yeah.
And then his confidence will go.
Yeah.
Yeah, get out. Phillips on a healthy lead. Yeah.
He's on a bit of it's on a bit of a knife edge. His the fans.
He won't start Sunday. That is my point. No, so when does he? I don't know. It's the first game of his second season. Behave. I don't know what you want me to behave on. Again, Ian Spencer, when does he play? You tell me when he plays.
See, this is the thing. I want him to play more because I do worry about Rodri potentially burning out because he's played as many minutes as anybody over the last several seasons. But you can't just take him out and put Phillips in because Phillips just doesn't fill me with that confidence that he can jump right in and do just as good a job as Rodri because he's not.
Take care later.
He's playing it's too safe. He's just too safe. He's too conservative with his passing, with his range, and
that's exactly my point, Pat. And to anyone else in the chat who wants to have a go at me, it's fine, no problem. I just hope second seeing Philip comes into form, but it's so hard to get a run of games when he's got the best player in front of him in his position. That's the problem.
The problem is when he signed.
In the world.
The problem is when he signed as well too. He signed pretty much into that as well too. Because before the start of last season, I think most people were in agreement with Rodri was probably the best CDM in Europe.
It's like I keep saying, well, Ozzy just put it there exactly what I said. Jack Grealish was bad in his first season, but played. Rodri was bad in his first season, but played.
Yeah.
Kalvin Phillips hasn't because of who's in front of him.
Yeah.
Rodri was learning from a 35-year-old Fernandinho. So he was always going to take over. Grealish didn't really have any competition at the time, so he was going to play. Kalvin's just wrong time, wrong place. That's all it is. Brilliant player, but I don't know. I mean, you were out in Korea and Japan. What was the impression of the team? Or
well, to me, like if we're still talking about Kalvin Phillips, it just felt like I was just watching a replay of when he set foot on the pitch during the season, during last season. Just there was nothing there for me to fill me with a lot of confidence, or he maybe turned a new page. Like he looked fit. He looked like he was ready to play in that too. You could tell he'd come back early, but there was still that inconsistency of just like almost where it was just like I'm not ready to, commit to that challenge or commit to that pass or that play the same way Rodri does. It's just still a little bit too safe, and even then you still notice that there was the occasional erratic pass or he was, muscled off the ball by Atletico because it seemed like within 10 seconds they were bombing forward again, up the pitch. And it just shows how important, how crucial the number 6 role is in Pep ball. And if you haven't got an absolute enforcer in that role like Rodri does, then it all goes pear-shaped.
By the way, I did not say that about Rodri, Ian. I've always backed Rodri. I'm not saying don't have a listen, Ian. No problem. You can disagree with that, but it's no witch hunt.
It's just cause for concern.
Fernandinho was 35 when Rodri took over. Kalvin Phillips is older than Rodri by 2 years. Older than Rodri by 2 years. Kalvin Phillips is not the Rodri backup or replacement because Rodri is younger. I'm sure it's 2 years. Younger by 2 years, so big, massive difference. But anyway, no problem. Like coffee. Take care, mate. Thank you. I might speak to you soon over on the Newcastle channel. Got Tony and Pete Proudlock coming on for the Newcastle preview as well, coffee. Oh, Alan's back. Evening, Al.
Hi, mate. How are you? Sorry for the mess up. Look, I'm just sorting my dad out, unfortunately, mate. It's a bit difficult at the moment.
Clodry, you came up with that name, Martin. No, I didn't. Do you want to know who came up with the Clodry name?
Martin, just for the record too, Rodri's only 6 months older than Kalvin Phillips, and they're both 27.
6 months older. He's younger.
No, Rodri's 6 months old. Rodri is 6 months older than Kalvin Phillips. Rodri turned 27. Rodri turned 27 back in June. Oh wait,
Sure.
yeah, he turned 27 back in June. June just passed, and Kalvin Phillips turns 28 in December. He has the same birthday as me. He turns 28 in December this year.
A lot now.
Yeah. Kalvin Phillips was born 2nd of December 95. Rodri was born 22nd of June 96.
When I looked, there was about 2 years difference.
Nope.
Because Kalvin Phillips is
6 months
I'm
older.
stand corrected. He's 27.
Mm-hmm. 6 months
Rodri
older.
is. No, you're right. I stand corrected.
It's only 6 months.
I stand corrected.
Yep.
No, I stand corrected. No, Alan came up with Plodry, by the way. Didn't you, Alan? Alan, you came up with the Plodry name. I see. I backed it. No, listen, I like
it's hard to call him Plodry after that first season, because that first season was just, Laporte went down, and then you're asking Rodri to go from being like, all right, you're the future number 6. Oh, but while you're there, can you cover centre back with another TDM?
I'm the one getting criticised of Phillips. And I said I want him to do well.
Yeah, the thing is, anyway, the thing is, his first season he was competing with Fernandinho when he was world class. He was a brilliant player, so it was difficult.
Yeah, so Rodri is older, but yeah, only by 6 months.
There you go.
No, but that's my point with Phillips, is that he has to compete. And listen, I hope he does. I really do. I just will
Healthy
see.
Competition, yeah.
Because I know what's going to happen. The first time he plays and goes bad, he'll all go mad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Alan makes it smile. I mean, Alan, what do you think of the transfer window?
Average, to be honest with you, mate.
Average.
Well, first things first. Average, yeah. I think first things first. Any player that's 33 plus, to me, we have to let go. We can't play forever. I don't care how good they are. He's going to have, and we have to get rid of people at that age when they get to around about 33, 34, because they're just dead weight, and legs players. The players' legs tend to go, and this is going to happen to KDB in the next couple of years. He's going to be going. We have to accept that the club have to get younger players in at that point, because you can't keep players forever. So the question is about Mahrez, about Walker, and all these players, and etc. I'm afraid, yes, they've been brilliant players, all of them, but at the end of the day, they can't play till the 95, can they? So we have to transition and get newer models in. So if that means we have a transition year doing that, so be it. But the problem we've had this year, I think, is I don't think there's been that many players available of the quality that we want. We've got, it looks like Guardiola is coming in at centre half, but I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that bothered, because, if let's say, for argument's sake, we didn't get hold of him, we'd still be as good moving forward, wouldn't we? So it's a difficult one, because I don't think that out there at the moment, it's like you talked about the midfield, Martin. If we get a couple of injuries, we're going to struggle. But who out there at the moment can we get that would do as good a job as we've got at the moment with the players that we've got? I don't think there's that many. We had, the only thing I think player that we missed out on was the Argentinian lad that went to Liverpool from Brighton. McAllister. I do rate. Yeah, I do rate him. I think he's a good footballer, and he's neat and tidy, which is what Pep wants. I just feel that, I think it was good signing with Kovacic. I think he's a very good player and very experienced, and I think that's why Pep went for him. But Gundogan, what is he? 33, 34. He's 34, isn't he? He's Gundogan. At the end of the day, he can't. Yes, he's quality, but he can't play forever. And people have got to accept that we have to transition these players. It's going to happen to KDB next year, the year after. So we have to accept it.
KDB's contract finishes in 2. KDB's contract finishes in 2 seasons, and he said publicly that he's happy to do like a David Silva, get the 10 years.
Could you not?
Yeah, we're going to have to let these players go. We've got to accept it.
No, Alan, I get that. Would you not like nobody says that?
We can't. At some point, Martin, we're going to have to let these players go.
No, I agree.
It's about moving forward.
I totally agree, but you just said that about a list. I got told today the list of midfielders we've had has never been as long.
What they were looking
at. As you know, City draw up a list every season.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Massive list every season. That list of midfielders has never been as long. There has been Kimmich on it. Frankie de Jong's been on it. There's been Casado's on it. There was Bellingham was on it. Everyone's been on it.
Martin, just out of curiosity, has there ever been any thought of City going after Valverde from Real Madrid?
No. I'm sorry, he was on a list. The trouble is, it's like
because they have kind of shop window. They've kind of put him in the shop window a little bit. Yeah,
it's not so much that it was like I'll tell you about the Vardy deal that I got told today. Like I said, the RB Leipzig wanted a lot more money out of City than what they were originally going to get. They were trying to get as close to the release clause for next season as they could get. And City were like, no. Then there was then it nearly got agreed. Then what happened was it came from Danny Olmo apparently and somebody else, where there was rumours going down, as you know, players talk of they're trying to get as much money as they can here. They told Vardy told his agent then told City, and City were like, nah, we'll just pull out the deal. City were like, we'll just pull the deal off the table and we'll Soon as that happened, all of a sudden the deal then got arranged again. It was on the RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig were trying to get more money out of us. We weren't going to play that game.
Yeah, they were. Martin, at the end of the day, let's look at it like this. If we didn't sign Guardiola in the next couple of days, we hadn't signed him. We would keep Laporte, and we would still have the same strength at the back. It was a deal that we didn't really need. We're basically getting rid of Laporte now, and the problem is no one's willing to pay Laporte's wages, so we're going to have to pay Laporte to get him out the door.
Alan's wages aren't that high. He's only
he's 120k a week. He's on less than half of what John Stones. He's on less than half of what Alan. He's on less than half of what John Stones is on.
Right. Who's going to pay him?
120k is really affordable. It's affordable wages.
Well, you tell me in Europe who can afford it.
But it has to be Europe.
It's not really the wages who can't afford it. It's the transfer fee because Juventus are lowballed us. They didn't even want to offer 30 million euro.
Do you want to know where
now it seems the only club that's willing to actually pay a transfer fee and the wages is Saudi Arabia. It just proves where continental European football is in the financial state that a lot of continental European football teams are in right now.
No one can afford it.
Can afford it. But it'd be even more impossible if Laporte actually played 20 games more, an extra 20 games last season. It's just we're between it. The way we're doing business and the way we want to do business with other European teams is between a rock and a hard place. We're handcuffed because the rest of Europe is handcuffed.
No, exactly.
You've got to remember,
it's a financial minefield, really.
Alan, you've also got to remember,
it's a tricky one.
But he don't made a point. Spurs and Villa have both made offers. He turned them down.
He wants to go to Spain.
Right. No one in Spain has money. Tough shit.
He just can't afford it.
I know that.
Tough shit.
I know.
So he goes to Saudi Arabia. The rumours tonight are about Al Nassr, 57 million quid, or whatever it could be. Good luck to him. Laporte is going to leave. Cancelo is a dead man walking at City. He's not going to.
Oh, yeah.
His relationship with Pep is broke. Ain't never getting back.
Well, I know Cancelo's just he's a talented footballer to play the game.
What did he get told? That deal is not as far down the line as what people think.
Well, who?
Cancelo and Barca.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So,
because at the moment they'll probably offer £5 million over installments over 10 years.
Kyle Walker,
6 months Spotify premium, 4 signed Lionel Messi shirts, and they're all Inter Miami shirts as well.
You say that, Pat. It's like the Ferran Torres stuff, Pat. They don't actually owe us a shitload of money on that. They're actually going with the way the deal's structured at the moment.
If they are, they're pushing the envelope because I think they've only made one installment, haven't they?
Yeah, it was the way we arranged it.
Right, okay.
You don't. Everyone's sat there going, Barcelona haven't paid for Ferran Torres. Yes, they have.
We did it.
The way we've structured the deal. We structured it so they had to pay on the slob. It was so much down and then so much 18 months later.
Out, didn't we?
There's a guy on Twitter at SLBSN he's put it all out on a spreadsheet. They're actually, if anything, they're about 2 million behind in payments. That's it.
Okay.
They don't owe this fortune as what people think they do. So like Alec Johnson said, Barca owe City for Torres. They don't. They're actually on track with what we've agreed. That's been proven. They're on track. So it's sort of a little bit, that's our own fault for agreeing that. Yeah. We've agreed that payment structure with Barcelona. But if you're going to do a deal with Barcelona,
well, we did that. Yeah. We did that to help them out, didn't we? Because it was
it was done as to help them.
To help them out.
Yeah. So everyone's
and respecting the players' wishes.
I'm not having to go at you, mate. I'm not having to go. I'm explaining because that's a narrative that's pushed out that Barca owe us all this money for Torres. The deal is actually structured in a way where they pay us on the drip. And if anyone doesn't know what the drip means, it's like £1 a week. I know we all joked about that, but it is. Because we've kind of done them a good turn.
Yeah, we've helped them out.
A little bit.
Yeah. And combined too, we respect the wishes that Ferran Torres wanted to go there as well. So
if you go on Twitter and look at SLBSN, really good financial guy on it, and Nobbins will know what I mean. He went through it the other day and actually said, no, they're actually not actually anywhere near behind what everyone thinks they do. They're not. They're actually okay. The problem Barcelona have got is that former president arranged so stupid contracts like Dembele. Dembele's gone to bloody PSG, but 20 million of the deal goes in his back pocket.
Yeah.
Because that's what the former, is it Valverde or whatever he was called at Barca?
Bartomeu.
Yeah, Bartomeu. He had to do those stupid contracts to get them all to re-sign again. He's the idiot who put Frankie de Jong on mega wages and then went, we can't afford it. So it's the Cancelo thing. The Cancelo will end up going out on loan. That's the way it'll be done. He'll go out on loan. Kyle Walker, like we said earlier, he's probably waiting for Harry Kane to move.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker has turned down the contract with City. Like I said, you don't sit on a contract for 2 months. You don't.
So, in an ideal world for Cancelo, do you think the likely reality will be loan? I want to say with an obligation to buy, but I think it'll be loan with an option to buy.
Yeah,
because Barca can't afford obligation to buy.
Yeah, it's such a. I'm just trying to pull up the SLBSN about Barcelona and because it was a really good tweet, and it's sort of. I'll explain it all to you now. Because there is this thing of that they owe us all this money, and it's not actually.
Well, he went there. Well, he went there because he wanted to go home, and plus he was seeing Enrique's.
It is
wasn't he? So,
July the 31st. A few stories went round on Barcelona being late on paying City 40 million. Barca would not be permitted to play in the Champions League with overdue debts to any football. That was the first thing, and that is a rule that. if you owe a ton of money out to people, they won't allow you to play in the Champions League. They were allowed in. The other thing that then came out was, in fact, we can see in Barcelona's accounts, Barca owed City 12.6 million euros before the 30th of June 23 and do still owe 40 million because the deal was they will pay around 10 million this financial year, 15.75 next financial year, and 13.7 million in financial year 25-26.
Yeah.
So
basically, it's paid over the course of the entire contract.
There you go. The amortization is not just, everyone thinks when you agree a deal, it's 40 million in one whack. No, it's 10 million down and the rest over the length of the contract. So
Gvardio's contract might be a different scenario because to me it sounds like we're trying to pay that 77 million as quickly as possible because it avoided us having to pay an extra 20 million if we'd elongated the method of pay or the payments. Yeah,
it's really complicated. This is what I mean with amortization. Everyone thinks that when you agree a fee, you pay it in one lump sum. No. That was the thing with Arsenal and West Ham.
Yeah.
Basically, Arsenal were negotiate. When you agree a fee, it isn't just the fee. You don't just go, yeah, we'll pay that. That's fine. The problem is then you then got a separate negotiation of, well, how much should we pay up front? Do you want all up front? Do you want half now, half in the next financial year? And the problem is, this is how you can get around FFP or FSR now, as it's now called. So, and we will do the same. No club on their right-hand mind, whether how much money they make, go on slap 50 million quid down in one lump. You just don't do it because it's stupid business. If you can get it over it's like a loan for your car. There's no interest on it. You got to remember these are interest-free things they're doing. They're not sat there. Well, at 12.5% over 5 years is what? No, that's how Chelsea got away. If you remember the Chelsea model, do you remember when they were giving out 8-year deals? And everyone was saying they found this loophole. Was never a loophole. The hole was always there. All they did was they gave 8-year deals, but UEFA went, no, you've got to pay over the maximum of 5 years. That's all they've done with Torres. We agreed the deal, but it was over the course of his contract. I think, did he sign a 4 or 5 year deal?
Yeah.
If it had signed an 8-year deal like at Chelsea, then yes, they would have had to pay it in 5. But they didn't.
It's part of the reason why you very rarely see contracts go over 5 years.
It's the reason why
they do. It's always like a vesting option for a 6th.
Yeah, it shouldn't really be going over 5 years full stop because of them reasons. Because you could just fix FFP or FSR as it is now any way you want. It's madness. Remember, that's the problem with Jadon Sancho at Dortmund. That's why they didn't get him the first time. Because they weren't Borussia Dortmund wanted a bigger down payment.
Yeah.
And United were like, nope, we'll do it over this. And they were like, nope, forget it then.
Suppose you could say the same for them when they try to get Frankie de Jong as well.
Yeah, I just think the transfer windows, we've bought some good players, but I don't think we've finished in the transfer window yet.
No.
I think some of the targets we wanted, we didn't get, especially midfield and out wide.
Well, it tells you that because we've bidded. And do you think Declan Rice is the only midfielder we've got after? No, you don't know about him.
I know. Well, exactly. Do
you know what?
I'm like you, Martin.
People don't realise. You know when people go, "Oh, we tried to buy this player, and we've shown an interest." You know what? People think that you just when they go, "Oh, put a bid in." That could just be a phone call where you ring up and you go, "What would you take?" Because I did find out. You've got to put an interest sheet in. So you send a fax to a club. Fill out not a deal sheet, an interest sheet. Send that to the club, and the club tell you, we've had interest in this. So when we've had interest in this player. they've sent an interest sheet form across, which registers your interest, and then they reply back to whether he is for sale, whether they're not for sale, whether they're available for loan or whatever. That opens the gateway.
Yeah.
They don't sit on the phone like ringing up, how are you doing, mate? You know, it's not like sat on a Friday morning in a coffee house having a chinwag. And then, because you ever hear about on the deadline day, they hear about, oh, they haven't completed the deal sheet in time. It's all like, it's a lot more complicated than people actually think it is. You think it's just ring up, make a bid in a way you're all. It's not that easy.
Can I ask you a question? During the trip to Japan and Korea, the prep was going on that Bernardo's staying at City, he's not going anywhere. Then this week I hear that there's possibly might be more going out the door. What is the situation with Bernardo? Has he signed an extension or has he not? Is he still wanting out or not? What is the situation with Bernardo?
I've been told that they've offered him 300 grand a week and he's agreed to it. Whether that's officially signed, because one thing I didn't find out whether it's been verbally agreed or was officially signed.
Well, they've got to do the contracts, which have to be checked by lawyers as well. So
PSG have made 3 inquiries, 2 were bids, and City just went piss off. Not for sale.
Yeah. So is he? So is
Yes,
he's
he's
agreed
staying.
to stay?
Yeah, he's staying.
Right. Good. That's all that matters. So because I think it's too late in the window now for him to fuck off.
Yeah, City have said that. FSR is called Financial Sustainability Regulations, where FFP was based on everything. Your financial sustainability regulations is on your income. That includes wages, sponsorship, and even agent fees. So even agent fees are taken into account off FSR. The new new FFP that'll come in this year. So first season you can spend up to 90% of your the money that you make as a football club. Next season, year 2 goes to 80% of what you can spend of your revenue, and in the third season, and then from every other season afterwards, it caps at 70%. So you can only spend up to 70% of your revenue that your football club makes. That includes everything. Like I said, even down to football agent fees. That's why they were trying to get agent fees a lot down, which I've heard apparently agent fees, if not now, they are going to be capped. So they can't ask for stupid amounts of money anymore.
Rightfully so.
Because the problem is that's the only way a football agent makes their money. This is why agents try and move players on, because they only make money in 2 ways. Contract renewal.
Is that why City are increasing the size of our ground as well, so we can get more revenue?
It's why Newcastle, for example, are struggling. Yeah, like I said it earlier on in the show, they can have a mega rich owner all they want, but their revenue is pants. So they can't do anything because they don't have the revenue to buy the big players. This is what I mean. Everyone jumps. Now, if United got taken over, different scenario. Because they've just agreed a £900 million deal with Adidas. So that goes into their revenue coffers.
Well,
say Luton Town got taken over by a Qatari sheik. Yeah?
It's about building ground.
It'd do them no good.
No.
Because they haven't got any revenue. Because he can't spend. So it's all very complicated, but this is what I mean. It's not just let's get excited by a rich owner in anymore. But they're trying to stop it in a way. Saudi Arabia are getting away with it a bit more because they're not regulated by FIFA at the minute. That's why I said if you actually, I think it was either Al Hatal or Al Nassr, if say the league stopped had money being pumped in by PFI, one of the clubs in it they don't even make enough money to pay 1 month's wage of one of their players. So that's what I'm saying.
They're walking a real financial tightrope,
Yeah. So, yes, it's great, but they're going to get regulated by FIFA, and then they've got a problem.
Something interesting I just noted. Alan, just something interesting I noted about Bernardo's contract right now. From what Martin's heard, is the contract's there, and it looks like he may accept that extension, that 300K a week. I'm going to set myself a date for when I think it may be signed, and just looking at the fixtures, we have an international break actually coming up around about the 10th of September.
Yeah,
I'm setting that weekend to see if Bernardo signs that contract by then, because a lot of our players do prefer to get their contract signed, any extension signed before or after an international break. So that's the date I'm setting. A month, just over a month from now, 5 weeks from now. Hopefully Bernardo signs that. That's my target time. Because if he doesn't do it by January, by January, which was the last time he signed an extension, if he doesn't sign it by January, then I think he's.
There's two things you've got to remember. There's a difference between announcement and signing.
Hmm.
Do you think Nathan Ackey's photos suddenly appeared on the same day it announced when it was out in where? No. Were we even back at that point?
Was he in? Well, I didn't pay much attention to the photos, but it looks like it was all done out in Japan.
It was all pre-done.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. It's a lot of. There's a lot of stuff that go on, and also
pen on paper is a different time frame to.
Yeah. Have you agreed verbally, or have you agreed documents wise? This is where when I was going to Fabrizio, because sometimes with Fabrizio's here we go. It's because it's like if you look at his tweet tonight about Gamardio, he's put documents signed. So it's weird the way it goes on, because a lot of it is just like agent talk and everything else. It's really weird. But I mean, Alan, are you expecting Cancelo, Walker, all them to go as well?
As long as we can get the money that we want for him, Walker I expect to go. I think that is because he wants to play minutes and he's not guaranteed that at City. Not at 33, and the way they play is slightly different now. So I think he will move on. Which, like I said to you, at 33, we have to make that jump. We've got to get rid of players when they get too old. I'm sorry, but we just have to. It's no good being sentimental. We've got to make that change. And if that means we don't win the league for 1 year, so be it. You know, we can't whinge at what we've done over the last 13 years. Let's be completely honest. We can't. And winning the treble last year, who'd have thought 20 years ago, Martin, when we were watching City, when I was living back in England, that we had Stuart Pearce and we couldn't score a goal at the Etihad. You know, who would have thought we did what we did last season and win the treble? It was just a pipe dream.
This is why I'm sort of relaxed this year, because I'm like
exactly.
You know, people need to remember we've got a Candulate. Pep, you were out in Japan, of course. But Pep said, you know, many things will happen.
Yeah, correct.
A lot of our big signings in the Pep era have all come basically in the month of August.
And also, by the way, can I make another point?
Plenty still going.
Everyone goes, we don't do business in January. If City are struggling in the league, they will go out in January and buy. The reason we've never done business in January is because we've never had to do.
Did we buy Laporte in January?
Yeah.
One of the.
That's how long it's been. Yeah, 6 years, 6.5 years now.
Yeah. And mate, he's done well for us. But mate, he's done well for us. But if
he has.
He hasn't. We've won lots of trophies. Let's face it. The year we won the league when we played Bill at last game of the season, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have got over the line. I'm telling you straight.
No, I get that. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
People don't need to worry because have we got enough? Yes. Laporte came in January. Peroni came in January, but Peroni, what? You got to remember, look at Peroni in January. We were struggling. So they brought a guy in, young lad from Argentina, 8 million quid. Thought, you know what? Not much of a gamble, 8 million quid.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite worked at the moment. At the moment. We'll see what happened. Alvarez was agreed in January. It wasn't. He didn't come till the summer, though.
Yeah. But we're just, at the end of the day, we've got to trust the board, haven't we? We've got to trust the Tiki and what he does. Let's face it. When Vinny packed it in and went back to Belgium to manage and packed in playing, we had to wait 12 months for a replacement for him. And if that's what we've got to do, that's what we've got to do. We've just got to trust the people in charge. The only thing that I have a concern, and I know, Martin, you're going to go, you're negative, blah, blah, blah. The other thing I've got a concern is if we get a transfer ban from these 115 charges, which is possible, Martin. Which is possible. Right,
you've been told.
Listen, we're gonna need all the kids to play like Chelsea. We are going to need because players will leave.
I get that, Alan, but listen, if we don't win a trophy next year, so be it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not bothered. I keep saying this. I'm not a City fan, Johnny come lately.
Martin, we've seen City win the treble. You know, it's 25 years ago. We would have dreamt of that. So we can't. At the end of the day, Patrick's got a flag behind with 3 trophies on it. That 20 odd years ago, we wouldn't have won any of them.
Sean, that is very true. He did say that.
20 years ago, I couldn't even afford that flag.
That's why I said, exactly. Sean, if City are doing not so well in January, they can go and buy.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying they've got the backup. Perone will play the FA Cup, Carabao Cup. I doubt he will, Connip. I very much doubt he will, mate.
Well, I'm hoping they play all the under-18s on the weekend. Every one of the under-18s, and the main game's Burnley away.
You're about to find out very much, Alan. You won't. No, mate. I'll put you bet he plays like 11. Well, 11 now. Haaland, the whole lot around.
Because you're going down there, that's why.
No, Alan, but the simple fact is, it's Arsenal, and he'll want to beat them.
And
like I said, Liverpool last season, he put his full 11 on.
Yeah. And I want to beat them too, because if we don't, there'll be certain divisions of that fan base who just will not.
Peroni at the moment.
People like Colonel Ward are great. They'll accept if they win.
My only thing with that, Connor,
but there's just some that's like, if they win it, oh my God.
Peroni hardly played over in Japan or South Korea. He got no minutes at all against Atletico.
Yeah.
The plan is
against Yokohama, he was subbed. He was subbed for Bernardo, who was already subbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is mad. The idea is he goes out on loan.
Okay, fair enough.
Girona will be the backup.
He's gonna Girona. It's gonna happen.
Girona's the backup. I asked that today. I said, is it definitely Girona? I got told Girona is the backup, but they're hoping he gets a European loan to a bigger club.
Okay, fair enough. He needs to play because he can't improve unless he's playing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
But Girona's the backup, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What number we'll give it? I have no idea. We'll see. 4 Pete never been done. Alan spent like mad. Arsenal spent like mad, so remember they're favourites. We'll see. Chelsea spent 600 million and finished, 13th? So guys are out now for the rest of my life supporting City, exactly. I would like to
absolutely spot on.
Because of the sextuple.
Yeah.
Alan loves the sextuple. But there could be good business in January windows. Yeah. Do you know what? I think you might see a bigger January window because of the Saudi League.
Yeah.
Because Pep's already said the Saudi League has very, very miscued the market a lot. So maybe you wait. I don't know. Because, the only thing I would say is, let's see where Kalvin Phillips is come January.
I think to be fair to Kalvin, let's see how he does till then. That's
what I mean. I think if Kalvin's not in the City team by January, he may start saying, right.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, that's fair to him as well. Yeah. But he wants to give it a go. That's fine. I'm fully behind him on that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense if we don't win anything after winning the treble. We still have the best team in the world, even if Marcel. Listen. Fine. I'm hoping we win the four Premier Leagues on the bounce. But what I'm saying is, it's not a disaster, Connie, if we don't win anything.
You can't win it. You can't win everything every single year. You can't win the league.
City at some point are not going to win a trophy. Believe it or not.
Correct.
Likely 32. Who's 32 at the minute?
Are you talking about the shirt number for Gvardiol? Mm. So Perone actually has 32, and he will keep 32 if he only gets loaned out. So this was
what number was Mender?
22.
Maybe he gets 22.
I think no. Do you know what I think he might? Do you know what I think he might get? He could get 24 because that's who was the last Croatian, Choluka.
Charlie.
They're 24.
Charlie Charluka.
Yep.
Yeah, in the
apparently too, Charluka's actually there's some article about Charluka actually had a chat with Kovacic, and I think he may have had a chat with Gvardiol about like life in Manchester and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see what shirt number he gets. Me personally,
let's go
favorite
to Madrid and get Modric, and then let's go to Tottenham and get Perisic. So let's really go. Let's get the Croatian.
Let's do it. Yeah.
You think we can get this?
Yeah.
What was that?
Next year's pre-season.
Sukic.
Yeah.
Sukic.
Yep. Next pre-season.
Let's go and get Davor Suker out retirement. What is he? 67.
Another Sambuco.
I always remember
Suker. Pre-season next year is in Zagreb.
Think we can relax, but we're not exactly. Who will replace Mahrez? Maybe nobody.
We don't need to. We don't need
Foden, Alvarez, Bernardo, Oscar Bob's back up.
McAtee,
I've heard still not. It's going to be his decision.
Well, he wants to give it a go, and that's let him give it a go. And
we don't know yet, Alan.
Yeah, but mate, I think he's got a lot of ability. A lot of ability.
What was the impression on pre-season so far? I've heard mixed. Some have said yes, some have said they weren't impressed.
What McAtee?
He was consistent. Yeah, he was. Look, he was consistent. He didn't blow anybody away, but he certainly didn't let himself down. He didn't let himself down. He was consistent.
I think he's got the quality to be on the bench and come on when he needs to and do it.
Yeah, but is he going to be happy with that part, Alan?
But he's going to need to, because he's not going to walk into the first 11, is he?
Doesn't have to be. James Trafford wasn't.
Yeah, I think he's got the ability, and I'd like to see him give it a go. That's my own personal opinion.
Gvardiol can't get six. Nathan Ake has 6.
Breaking news, Alan. You ain't the Manchester City manager, mate.
Anyway.
So, Alan, this is what I get. You know, when fans go, I want this and I want that. It don't really give a crap. Give you an opinion, but it don't matter what you want.
It's about Pep. But if Pep didn't rate him, he wouldn't be there right now.
You take it going. I'm talking to the chat because the shirt number for Gvardiol is good. It's good.
For me, people need to go. My opinion is, or I would like, but what they go is, I want this. If I don't get that, my toys are coming out the pram. Well, you're not the City manager. Tough shit. Sit down and get on with it. When you become the manager or the chief exec, then you can make the bloody decisions. Ake's the 6th shirt, yeah. Alicia rumours true. I'm not sure on that because it's been confirmed he's got a release clause. City wouldn't hang around on a release clause. 35 million quid, you just trigger it. Unless they're concerned about the injury. But I like I said, again, they've probably got. I've heard they've got a list of names on the winger list as well.
Would you go and sign? Would you go and sign a wide player?
No, I'd buy a midfielder. Said that earlier.
Okay.
I would rather get a midfielder because I think 2 injuries in midfield and we're up shit street.
I agree.
Personally, because I think we've been very lucky with injuries. Hopefully, because we've got the world class medical, but that isn't going to happen forever. That Anuj, great question. We're going to discuss that on Saturday because we need to wrap up. We've been going for nearly 3 hours. And what are you doing in the chat?
Hey?
Oi, yeah, you. Oi, yeah. What? What are you doing in the chat?
Putting new song lyrics in.
Naughty boy. If Bob Gvardiol and Aki play,
do you expect anything else from me, given my bloody singing?
Virgil singing.
I'll see you at the end of the year for the karaoke.
If Gvardiol and Aki play, who plays left back? Don't really have a left back. That's the problem, isn't it? Because Andrew, what we'll play is a back 4 of centre backs and 1 Ellenberg.
I think if you wanted to answer that in one sentence, it would be back 4, Ake, back 3, Gvardiol.
Yeah, muddied up. You can't have 23, mate. We retired it out of Mark Vivian Fowler.
Yeah, you can't. His
national 21 either.
His national numbers. Yeah, his national number is 20. You can't have that, Bernardo. Can't have 20. You can't have 32. Peroni's got it.
15.
You can't flip it. 15,
What's his number at Leipzig?
32.
He's got 32.
Prone.
Hmm.
Prone it. Maximo Prone.
He's going out on loan.
But he can't take the number if
he can if Perone gives it up.
No, but if he gets loaned out, he still keeps the 32 number.
Yeah, but he can give it up though. Sancho did for Ronaldo. That number 7 shirt, United's been passed around by everyone.
Cavani did for Cristiano as well, didn't he?
Well, I mean, you can just go. Do you want it now?
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus gave up 33, didn't he, and went to 9.
Yeah.
So, I mean, does a number really matter? I don't know. I mean, they're not all like Balotelli.
Sergio went from 16 to 10.
I mean, you got to remember, we're not talking Mario Balotelli. I want 63 because the 9 isn't available, and 6 add 3 equals 9. The mad pot.
But then he had 45.
Yeah, sorry, 45.
45.
4 had 5. Yeah, I know it added to 9. 23 is retired. Thank you for that, Pat.
Yeah,
my brain's squashed tonight. I'm still in Turkey. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to end it there. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's joined us. We have had nearly 1,000 views tonight. Listen, not everyone is always going to agree with us. People will have a go at me. By all means, it's your opinion. Absolutely fine. Not a problem. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not an ITK. Never claimed to be. I get told information that I pass on. If I was an ITK, I'd be all over Twitter with it. I don't go on Twitter and do it all, if you notice. I'm not an ITK.
Right, guys, I've got to shoot. I've got work to do.
Got to shoot. Calm down. Right, cheers, Alan. Hope you're all right, mate. Take care.
Thanks, Alan.
We
Good
will
to
be
see you, mate.
back
Hope you are.
live.
Take care. I'll speak to you later.
See you, mate.
Saturday night. We're going to go live now. My missus is going to kill me. We will be live Saturday night with the Community Shield. I'm only going to do 30, 45 minutes at max. Doesn't need to be any longer because my missus will kill me because I'm not here Sunday because I'm at Wembley. So what we'll do is, I don't know what time. I will confirm with Rich and Pat. Maybe Ozzy can think. We will confirm the time, but we'll be live Saturday night for about half an hour, 45 minutes, talking everything Community Shield and the build-up. And then I will do a few YouTube shorts down at Wembley on Sunday. And then we'll do post-match Monday night as well. No, I'm driving down, mate. If anyone is down at Wembley on Sunday, hit us up. Come and say hello. Great. Thank you very much, Money Duck. It's great to be back. Number 4 for the dates he came to Manchester. Big season ahead of Mancunian where we're just getting started. We are. Great show, lads. Thank you very much. Big up, Martin. No, thank you all for joining us. You are all legends. And, you know, this show is nothing without you people. It's why it's your channel. Going Saturday as well. Saturday. Going a day early, mate. There you go. Sunday, I mean. Great show, lads. Big season ahead. Yeah, see you all Saturday, folks. So Saturday night, we'll be back. Don't worry, Sean. Thank you for joining us. You can get us back on playback. Yeah, big season ahead. We talk transfers. Way too long on the other thing, but yeah. Take care, and we'll see you on the next show, Saturday night. Smash those likes on the way out. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. Big up to Alan for his super chat. And thank you to the new channel members as well tonight. There's been amazing. Rose become a new channel member. And then I will speak with people and sort out monthly giveaways that will probably start at the end of August. I need to have a chat with Andy and see what we can get done. But take care all. Smash the like, share it around, and hit that subscribe button. See you Saturday night. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.